you're gonna be my designated driver tonight. Oh, we're
Okay,
live. Look
that's
at
fair.
that. Hello, everyone. Whoa, everybody just
Thank you,
popped
Mr.
in here.
Matchstick. No, I'm kidding.
What
Go
happened
on.
then was unacceptable. I didn't see the Oscars. What? You know what? Don't
Oh,
be judgmental,
wait,
Joshua
you're
B.
Joshua V. Hold on. Yeah, we'll definitely get there. But you know
Don't
what?
be.
That's good because that means they're actually paying attention to all the work that I do on the thumbnail, and they know what we're going to be talking about, or they're reading the title.
Have
I
a great
guess.
show, geezers. Thank you, Big Al.
Thanks,
Good
buddy.
evening, guys. Welcome, and Annette. Hi, Annette. Okay.
A
I
little
didn't.
bit more of an informal start to the show, but that was fun.
Oh, whatever. Oh, I forgot. I'm actually supposed to introduce us. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Geeky Geezers. I am your host, Agent Boomer. This is my co-host, Papa Pacelli.
Huh? What'd you say? Sleazy?
We're not
You
there.
calling me sleazy?
What? You know what I was watching last night? Actually, I watched a movie with William Shatner. It was called Senior Moment. It's about William Shatner, and he loses his driver's license, and he's trying to get his license to drive back, and shenanigans, and
I
it's
don't
fairly
remember
recent.
ever hearing of that.
It's recent. It's and what's funny is his co-star, at least the male co-star in it, it's Christopher Lloyd, and I'm
Oh
thinking
my
Christopher
gosh,
Lloyd
that's
and William
brilliant.
Shatner, and I'm thinking, wait a minute.
Yeah, it's Krug and Kirk.
He
Yeah.
was the Klingon in
Yep.
Star Trek 3. And I'm
Yep.
like, it's funny they're reunited, except they're just playing like senior citizen friends or something. It's a funny movie. It's William Shatner's in it. It's William Shatner's
cool.
great. I'll say this: William Shatner, how old is he?
A million? I don't know.
He gets for his age, he gets around.
Yeah.
He's He's
And
actually.
you know what I love? He doesn't take things too seriously.
No.
I mean, I'm sure that there are things that he says that I disagree with and stuff like that, but he doesn't seem to be an asshole about it. Like, unlike some celebrities that I've seen.
Yeah.
And there is nothing that he really takes seriously. I kind of dig that about him.
No, he's funny. Rose Fire, welcome. I believe you said, hold on. Everybody, you're
Rosefire's excited to be here, and that, you know, if you're not excited to be here, then, well, I mean, I'm glad you're here, but why wouldn't you be here if you weren't excited?
Everyone's excited. Shalom and good evening, everybody.
Yep.
Well, welcome, Auditor Dread. Welcome, Daniel Herron. What? For the love of Mike, or is he?
Hope I don't get slapped.
I don't know, man. These days, I think it's open season. This is scary times we're living in. I'm telling you.
Netter just said that Shatner is 90 years old.
I hate to say this. He seems in better shape than Mr. Patrick Stewart. I'm not trying to.
Holy crap! You're right.
I mean,
how funny would that be if? No, I better not.
Never mind.
I don't want to jinx either one of them.
No, let's not. You know, my problems with Picard still.
Yeah.
It's funny. Red Letter Media, they're doing their Picard season.
Oh, I don't call him sir. He hasn't earned it. He doesn't deserve it. Just being tapped on the shoulder with a sword by the Queen, you know, that doesn't mean anything to me. It hasn't meant anything for years.
It's funny you mentioned that because he was in the Emoji Movie, right? And he played the voice of the poop emoji. Yep. And he's on Conan O'Brien. And Conan O'Brien says, "Who do you play in this new animated feature, the Emoji Movie?" And he's like, "Well, I play poop." And then like the crowd is laughing, and then I like kind of make a side glance and I say, "You know, he's a knight, right?" It's
you know, Rosefire makes a great point. I wonder what is the secret to Shatner's longevity and good humor. He outlived a lot of other celebrities. Yeah, he outlived a lot of people on his own show, you know, on Star Trek. I would argue that there's probably no causality there, but there might be a correlation between his health and his humor. You know, I mean, if you are all caught up in, you know, dreary downer, you know, the world sucks and I got to, you know, use my pedestal to, you know, push agendas and, blah, 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 and this and that. And you get war weary over time. And, it takes a toll on your body too. If you keep a good spirit and you laugh and you go, well, that's just life, you're going to have a much healthier attitude. And, I think that manifests in your health as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Correlation, though, not necessarily causality. Okay. Just make sure that nobody, says I said something that I didn't.
Well, no, I understand. Rosefire, HBO Patrick Stewart also voiced Ramses' father in Prince of Egypt. That would be Seti, I believe. Much better role for him and outstanding animated film. I remember when Prince of Egypt came out. That might be a good old days coming up. I don't know if you're familiar with that movie, Troy.
I am very familiar with it. Yeah,
okay, so maybe we'll get to that maybe at another point. But yeah, great animated feature. I saw it in the theaters when it came out. I was very excited. I was hoping we were going to get more from DreamWorks of that style. I thought maybe they would try taking on some of the great epics of the world and maybe try and animate them. But I guess that's not what they ended up doing eventually. I guess Shrek was too big a deal. But I really liked Prince of Egypt, and all the voice cast in that movie was great. And actually, speaking of, another Ten Commandments movie, I believe Big Al this Saturday will be doing a rewatch of the Ten Commandments.
10 Commandments, exactly.
Classic Cecil B. DeMille movie. And they're both great adaptations of the Exodus stories. There are things I like about the DeMille version better and things I like about Prince of Egypt better, but I'll talk about that another time. But
we're falling behind here. David Pensack, Auditor Dredd.
I thought I already said hi to
did
them.
you? I thought
you weren't listening. Shatner's living off the TJ Hooker mojo he bottled up years ago.
Actually, there's something to be said for that. I mean, I think more than anything else, I think that was how he sidestepped, he got the best of both worlds, right? He has benefited from the Captain Kirk thing, but he wasn't bound by it, because of the TJ Hooker, because of what was that Law show he did too, kind of reinventing himself as he went, but still capitalizing on what went before. Heck, he even had that series of books that was really just Captain Kirk as TJ Hooker.
Yeah. Captain Kirk as TJ Hooker. Yeah, well, there you go. I think Heather Locklear was on that series, wasn't she?
Yes, she was. Mm-hmm. Okay. And who was the curly-haired kid that was on there? I forget his name. The sidekick guy.
I never really watched it.
Yeah, I don't remember. Someone.
I should. I watched a couple episodes. I should.
Adrian Zemed, was that who
I
it
should
was?
watch it. I am a big Shatner fan, so I'm sure I would like it. But...
Yeah. David said. Yep.
I remember. Jeff Goldblum was
voiced too.
Aaron. Yeah, they didn't get to the part in the Prince of Egypt with the golden calf. I guess they had to. They wanted to end on a positive note.
Yeah. Right.
Aaron. I like it in the DeMille version. Aaron kind of messes up. He in fact, we did a good old days for 10 Commandments, I believe, last year, didn't we? I think I was talking about the wonderful Deborah Paget, who was the water lily girl who gets first Vincent Price tries stealing her, and then it's Edward G. Robinson, and it's just Edward G. Robinson and Deborah Paget. That's wrong.
Yeah.
So many levels. But anyway, let's move on. You didn't tell me what I'm sipping on, first of all.
What are you sipping on? We've been all over the place this show so far.
Anyway, well, this has been an all over the place week with people going nuts. But I have here a Southern Peach Lemonade Calypso Taste of the Islands brand. Shakes well. I'm going to shake it again. And I am excited because I've never had this before. And I'm going
to tell us what you thought of it.
I can't turn the cap. My hand is wet. What are you sipping on? Why don't you tell us that? Well,
actually, nothing. Well, nothing? I just finished Diet Dr. Pepper.
There we go. Open it up. The party starter, it says, on top of the lid. Are they trying to say I'm supposed to mix this with something?
Oh. Right. Actually, now that you mentioned that, yeah, it does sound like it would be a good mixer. I am now, again, drinking a Diet Dr. Pepper.
That is delightful. I love things flavored peach. That is very delightful. Zootopia, welcome.
Yep.
All right. So let's move on. One more thing from Rosefire, then I'm going to move on. Mm-hmm. Hope you guys do a Prince of Egypt rewatch someday. The music, animation, the drama, all make it a masterpiece to me. Well, you never know. Maybe we will at some point. All right. So let's talk about the good old days. Now, of course, today there was the premiere, I think, on this date of Planet of the Apes, but we cannot do that because we already did a good old days for Planet of the Apes.
That is true.
But today is Marlon Brando's birthday.
Yep, born this day in 1924.
So we figured, and it's also
he would have been, I don't know, old.
And it's the 50th, and it's the 50th anniversary of another film.
I don't know. Oh yeah, it's not today though, is it?
No, but it's this year.
Yeah, it's this year. 50th anniversary of The Godfather.
Godfather.
Yep.
I'm gonna make you an offer I can't do it. Can you do Brando?
Make you an offer you can't refuse.
That's better. Thank you.
Yeah. No, you just gotta talk like your mouth is full of crap, you know.
Today is also Film Score Day. It is. I'm sure that Daniel did a video. I should look at his channel. I'm sure he did a video for that. Today's Film Score Day. Well, Godfather had a great film score.
It really did.
And I'm thinking, Godfather, big deal. Didn't catch it till I was older, and not until high school, I think. But I'd always known about it. As you were saying, I think, what were you saying before this? We were talking before the stream. Even if you haven't seen The Godfather, you've still felt its influence.
Yeah, it really is. It was such a classic and much parodied and influenced so many things that came after it that you probably know at least many of the story beats. And don't even realize, where they came from. And then if you ever get around to seeing Godfather, you're like, oh, that's where that came from. And that's why everybody says that line and, stuff like that. Exactly right.
It's funny. I was watching SCTV years back did a Godfather skit. And I think this one guy said he wouldn't work with, I guess, a Luciano Pavarotti, and of course, Luciano Pavarotti was played by John Candy, because there was this wonderful young actress, singer. She was beautiful, and then what went wrong? What did he do to her? He kept taking her out to eat. She got fat. And it was, instead of it being something else, but The Godfather.
Yeah, David, that one is that's one of the lesser known lines, but it is one of my favorites, and oftentimes quoted by the Klingons in my life. Leave the gun, take the cannoli. Yeah,
that's a wonderful line. Well, why waste a good cannoli, right?
Well, why get caught with a gun when a cannoli will do,
Funny. Yeah, you get okay. But anyway, The Godfather, Francis Ford Coppola.
Yep.
And I believe he didn't necessarily want to direct it at first. It was like a commercial movie. In fact, I think Daniel and I were talking about this on our THX stream about I think Coppola had produced the THX George Lucas movie, which wasn't exactly a box office success. And I think he had to direct The Godfather after that to, get back in some good graces. But Godfather, of course, was a huge success. I believe it won Best Picture the year it came out, didn't it?
Actually, so did Godfather 2. It was the first film and its equal to both get Best Picture.
Yeah. So we keep talking about The Godfather. What is it about?
In the gosh, I mean, to take it and condense it down is tough, but if you want to get down to the bare bones of it, it's a mob story. It's about the Sicilian mob, the Cosa Nostra, whatever, and a specific family. Now, it's all fiction, but it does a brilliant job of weaving in allusions to actual history and sometimes using real history in fictitious ways. It's actually quite clever. Very romanticized concept of the mafia,
Right.
and it was had such a cultural impact that it actually changed the way the mob operates
How they looked at
in the
themselves,
real
right?
world. It became this, I want to be like that. And you'd have mobsters actually trying to be more like the characters on the screen rather than just, the animalistic criminals that, let's face it, they really are,
Well, yeah, you want that, maybe watch Goodfellas.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
but
Goodfellas is probably a little bit more realistic, but Godfather is without a doubt. I guess it's aspirational for criminals. I don't know how else to put it.
I don't know. Well,
Is.
I mean, you have Vito Corleone, who he has some standards. Like there are things he won't do. Like
Yeah,
one
it
of the
was this
earliest.
idea that there's even though these are completely amoral people, they have a code of ethics
Mhm.
in quotes.
Like
Family first, and there's things you will do, there's things you won't do.
right, like there's a thing in the movie where like a Sicilian cannot refuse a favor on his daughter's marriage day.
Right, right.
On wedding day. Okay, and
Mm-hmm.
it's you have the Undertaker coming up to him and talking about how his how a bunch of frat boys beat the heck out of his daughter,
Yeah,
right? And he wants revenge. And he says, "You want me to kill these men, but that is not justice. That is not. They didn't kill your daughter."
right.
And then he starts going on about, let's face facts. You had a good life here in America, and you didn't want to become a friend of mine. Didn't want to invite me over for a cup of coffee. And then he
Yeah,
says something. I'll give them their due, but I will at some point ask you for a favor. I think, right?
yep.
And it's not. I won't tell you what that is until the day. And of course, we find out what that is later on, and it's actually a very sad scene when he asks him for that favor.
Yeah, and that's that. You could draw the corollary to the making a deal with the devil, right? Eventually there comes a day where you got to pay up, and you may not like what that price is. And you don't enter into a bargain, a Faustian bargain, so to speak, without knowing what the cost is. Hell, I mean, at least with Faust, he knew it was his immortal soul, right? With the Godfather, you don't even know what you're signing up for.
Yeah.
Yep, yep.
What is this? Eddie Valentine. I may not make an honest buck, but I'm 100% American. I don't work for no 2-bit Yahtzee. The
Yeah.
Racketeer. Okay.
Yep, yep.
But yeah, I am a big fan of no, I mean I do like The Godfather.
Have you read the book?
I
Mario
haven't.
Puzo?
It's one of these books I should read. I think I started listening to it a little bit just to check out what it was, and it was. I think I read like the first few pages. It looks excellent. I mean, it kind of grips you from the beginning. Have you read The Godfather, the book?
God, years ago. I remember my mom got it like as soon as the movie came out. She went and she got the book, and I thumbed through it. But I was really young at the time. Probably didn't appreciate it. I should probably pick it up and reread it. But
Now that was Mario Puzo wrote the book and the screenplay, correct? I believe he.
he's credited on the screenplay. I don't know if he actually. I think I see. I don't know how much of that is Francis Ford Coppola and how much of it's Puzo. Oftentimes, when they say screenplay by based on a novel by, it's more. Well, I wrote the book. Someone else can turn it into a screenplay.
Yeah, but I will say this: in older Hollywood, a lot of the time the writers of works would adapt their own stuff. Richard Matheson was famous for adapting his own work into like big movies. Like he would write the screenplays, and
I
it
agree,
wasn't
but
so out of the
the
ordinary.
problem is though that it really is two different styles of writing and two
Right.
completely different skill sets, and not every writer has that. So that's why I never really know for sure. Just because someone wrote a novel and they're credited with screenplay by based on a novel by, I don't know how much that means they actually,
Well, it's hard.
turned it into the screenplay.
It's hard to say because obviously screenplays can get rewritten and stuff. But I remember William Goldman, the gentleman that wrote The Princess Bride. I was watching. I have the Magic Blu-ray, the one about the ventriloquist dummy. I think I mentioned that the other week. And on the Blu-ray, he talks about adaptations that worked and adaptations that didn't work based on his own writings. Like he said that Marathon Man turned out really well. He liked that one, but he didn't like that one that Burt Reynolds was in, Heat. He didn't think that one turned out well at all. But he was and he was talking, and the segment on the Blu-ray was screenwriting for dummies. So I think back in the old days, screenwriters did have more influence in Hollywood. I think as time has gone by, the director will just stomp all over your work now. But
yeah,
if you're even lucky enough to even get your work picked up, because of course spec scripts aren't even a thing anymore either.
It's true. And I know I've talked about this on previous streams, but I figure this is probably the most appropriate place to share this story. This was obviously so much a part of my family and my, in quotes, culture that when I used to go over by family for the holidays, they'd have The Godfather playing. And the first time Nanette, I took her to a cousin's house for the holidays. The first time she was meeting like the extended family. As we knock, the door opens just at the scene where James Caan is getting shot in the toll booth, right?
Yep.
And I'm like, oh, Merry Christmas. I know that sound. I know what you're watching. And that's like, the heck's going on?
Oh, that's funny. You know what? That's like the most another inappropriate thing. That'd be like on The Simpsons when Homer would see that on play on the video. That's The Godfather. You want to rent it? Why? Just saw the best part. Oh, just he was watching some action movie where some guy's partner gets shot up. He says, "Hey, that's the latest McBain movie. You want to rent it? Why? I just saw the best part." I wanted to smack Homer.
I'll tell you something else about So we get to my cousin Diane's house. We say hi to everybody, start picking at the first course, sit down to watch some of it. And I'm confused because it seems like it's all out of order. Oh, they were watching the one where they've taken 1 and 2 and put it in chronological order. I was like, I've never seen it like this before. I think it was
go ahead. Sorry.
Was it one of the cable channels that was doing that at the time?
Here's what happened. I believe that Coppola did it for regular TV. He turned it into like a mini series, and I know that HBO had it on their channel a few years back. They did like a restored version of that version, which is like let's combine 2 and 1 and kind of tell it in chronological order. So it does start out with the Robert De Niro stuff in old Italy before he comes to America. So it does all that like in order, and then it goes into the more modern setting, which I guess was the 1940s, right? Or early
exactly.
1950s.
And I got to be honest, it doesn't detract. It's not like so many other things that it's not like watching, the prequels of Star Wars before watching Star Wars, right? And, oh, okay, I know what's coming. No, it's just a natural progression of storyline. Good stuff.
I'd be curious to watch that version to see if I like it better or if I like them as they are with 1 and 2, where you do get the flashbacks and 2 back and forth to the the start of Vito Corleone coming over to the States. Yeah. But a lot of great actors in this. I believe Robert Duvall was in these, wasn't he? I believe.
Yeah, there was a lot of great stars. Robert Duvall, James Caan, I mentioned, Al Pacino, Marlon Brando,
Diane Keaton,
Talia Shire.
Yep,
Talia Shire.
As
most
Connie,
people,
Vito's only daughter.
Little bit younger people remember her from Rocky, but it was The Godfather that really put her on the map there. Abe Vigoda,
yeah,
who the man didn't age to the day he died. I think he was born an old man, and he was an old man all his life.
Yeah, he was born at 50, right? Yeah,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's this, and I do want to mention, not all those actors. Diane Keaton, too. A lot of the people we just mentioned playing Italians that weren't Italian, and nobody had a problem with this. Nobody had a problem with the fact that James Caan wasn't Italian. You know,
I will say this though: the Italian American community at the time, some of their leadership was a little up in arms, and the producers had to meet with them and assure them that this is not going to be in bad taste.
Yeah.
We are not going to show disrespect to Italian Americans, and they made some deals and they talked, and of course, then I don't think they were allowed to mention the word mafia in the movie. Correct? I think that was like something they couldn't mention. The word.
I don't remember any lore about that, but you're right that they don't. Yes. And I think it benefits from that. I mean, it's kind of like a zombie movie not using the word zombie. It's appropriate sometimes.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. In all three of the original Living Dead movies, you hear the word zombie mentioned once in all three of them. All others, they're calling them those things, the living dead and stuff. They don't call them zombies.
We're kind of getting off on a tangent here, but I will say this, that modern zombie films, if they're really doing it well and thinking it through, you'll notice that if in the film there is no idea of what's going on, and in other words, you have to believe it's a world that have never had zombie movies in it as part of their pop culture, they're not going to have that word in their lexicon, and therefore you're going to get things like walkers or the dead and the whatever.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Whereas oftentimes, especially in comedies, where they're like, zombies. Don't say zombies. Why? Because I don't want to think of them as zombies. Well, that's what they are. They're zombies. You know that they're referring to movies.
Of course.
And it's, so.
That's more of our term for it, not the term in the characters.
Oh, God. Oh, here we go. Yeah.
Oh, I wanted to mention Fredo, though. Oh, would somebody in the chat say something? Hold on. Somebody in the chat say something?
As the consigliere. Yeah. Nope. You're right.
Yeah. But also Fredo, let me find the actor who played him. That was John Cazale.
Yep.
Am I getting his name right? Yeah, he kind of fell off the map after Deer Hunter. Wasn't he in that and then he disappeared? Or was he in Heaven's Gate? I don't know. But good actor, kind of playing in an unfortunate role there. And of course we have the great Al Pacino. We haven't talked about him enough, I think. But
yeah, that was some great stuff. And especially, like in the second movie, I mean, it's really his progression story, right? It's him moving into his father's position, then wanting out of it, but not being able to get out of it. And I even argued, and this is why it's important in my opinion, and this goes back to how it is reflected in pop culture and is a touchstone for entertainment. I had predicted as the Book of Boba Fett was opening up, I said, you watch, this is going to be Godfather 2. You're going to see, and there were a lot of story beats in there like that if you're unaware of it and you're not paying attention, I mean, you should be able to enjoy it if you've never seen Akira Kurosawa films, if you've never seen Seven Samurai or any of that, you should still be able to enjoy Star Wars, right? If you've never seen a Western, you should be able to enjoy Star Wars and whatnot. But if you have, it certainly adds a dimension, and you look and you go, oh, I see what they're doing with that. And I would argue that that's the same thing with Book of Boba Fett. It should stand on its own. But if you've seen Godfather 2, you go, I see where they're going with that. And it might very well give you an idea of where the story might be going, so you can anticipate it.
Kind of like Mandalorian with Lone Wolf and Cub, which I have the movie box set. I need to get around to watching it at some point.
That's an excellent analogy too. Yeah. Very, very good. Very good.
HBO supposedly did a director's cut of Godfather, The Death of Michael Corleone for part 3. Interesting. I know that Coppola recently put out his, I think we mentioned this on this stream a while back.
Coda,
which I do have a digital copy of it, which I intend to watch at some point.
I just saw it at the store the other day, and I had already picked up another DVD. I couldn't justify getting another one, but I will eventually end up getting around to getting that.
Because I'm curious, because Godfather 3 gets a lot of hate. I don't hate that movie, but I know
I loved it.
Yeah,
I really do. But you know, when I say that, people look at me and go, "Yeah, but you're on Her Majesty's Secret Service, you know, George Lazenby best." And I'm like, "Oh, screw you." You know?
Well, no, even Sofia Coppola, I know she gets attacked a lot for that movie. I don't think she's terrible in it. I think she
And
a
you know,
little rough, but I mean, not a bad
the biggest
actress.
problem is everyone wants to knock her down because nepotism, forgetting the fact that she was not the first choice,
No,
and she was literally stepping in to save the damn movie.
yes,
Otherwise, they wouldn't have had someone.
supposed to be Winona Ryder.
Yep. Yeah, who honestly would have been great. She would have been, you know, talk about, you know, we do this with Back to the Future. Well, gee, if it had been, you know, the other guy instead, if it had been Eric Stoltz, it would have been a completely different movie. Maybe not as good. I would argue, you know, Godfather 3 would have been a completely different movie with Winona Ryder, and I think a much better film for it. But you gotta look past it and go, they couldn't get her. This was not a choice they wanted to make. What is the story? Look past the performance of someone who never wanted to be an actress, you know?
She did turn out to be an accomplished director in her own right, though.
Absolutely. And a very good one. Yeah.
Yes. But yeah, I try to get, but they pull me back in. Yes.
And Godfather 3, another reason that Godfather 3 is one of my favorites is you know, and I alluded to this previously, whereas you have in Godfather 1 and 2, you've got like the allusions to real world history, the whole Frank Sinatra like character, you know, and whatnot. And, you know, people in the know kind of, you know, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. You know, we know what you're saying.
Yeah, you can tell he's supposed to be Sinatra too.
Yeah, exactly.
What
in Godfather 3, when they start talking about the Pope, you know, it's like, okay, this is a real world, you know, person in history, and there's a lot of people to this day that think that John Paul II died because, you know, something with the mob or something like that. You know?
It's one of those urban legends, right? Or not legends, but maybe not urban legends.
Well, I personally think it was started by the fictionalized story in Godfather 3. You know, it's you know, just like, you know, how JFK, so many people believe things about the JFK assassination that are absolutely not true because they saw it in a movie. You know,
like President Harding, I think, was murdered by his wife to keep the honor of the name or something, right?
Right. Or just exactly the same reason why I go off on Titanic, because the first officer, you know, fires into a crowd and shoots himself. That didn't happen. There is no evidence that happened, you know, and that was a real person with a real family, damn it. You know, and yet there's going to be idiots that are going to believe it because they saw it in a Hollywood film, you know, but, you got to take, if you're intelligent, and there aren't enough intelligent people in this world, I don't think anymore, watch these movies and know when it's fiction and know when they're fictionalizing history, and don't take it too seriously and just enjoy it for what it is. You know, I don't think anybody believes that Gary Seven was working behind the scenes through the 60s and 70s, you know, to alter history. Same thing here, you know?
Yeah.
So, boy, we've touched on a lot of pop culture talking about
the Godfather is here. So influential,
right?
And I wanted to say something. What's that? There's that scene in it. One of my favorite scenes in it is when the Sinatra stand-in is there. Valentine, I think his name was it Frankie Valentine,
something like that. I forget.
And he's talking to Vito Corleone. He's saying like he's crying about something, you know, about he needs to get this part, and he's crying or something, and then he's like, "Stand up like a man." He's like getting
yeah.
And I feel that way sometimes about, like, I was wanting to do that with a certain Twilight actor. Of course, then I found out he had other issues going on. But when he was saying, "I'm not going to work out," and I wanted Vito Corleone to smack him around.
Yeah, be a man. Exactly.
Be a man. You know, it's like, oh, instead of saying I don't have time to work out and all this other nonsense. But, you know, Godfather classic. Wish I could have gone into more detail, but you should watch it yourself if you've ever seen it. I did want to say something else about it, though. Godfather, if you were to throw it into a genre, it's really a gangster movie, which were these big popcorn movies of the 1930s, right?
Yeah.
And
But it was
Alien.
so epic. It
It
really elevated it.
was. What is Alien? Another 1970s movie, which is an elevated version of a 50s B sci-fi movie.
True.
Think about it. Think all
Yeah.
these genres were then getting reinvigorated in the 70s. I mean,
And this is the example, right, of the auteur filmmaker who really did elevate what they did, right? As opposed to these deconstructionists who think who the hell they are and sniff their own farts and, put out crap. These were real people that, maybe you'd never even heard of before. And they're like, I'm going to do something and I'm going to do it excellently and make everyone take notice because it's so good,
Yeah. But yeah, Godfather. I believe it's getting a 4K re-release this year in time for its anniversary, and I wouldn't be shocked if it gets a theatrical re-release if it hasn't already. Maybe they'll throw it in up on the big screen. Maybe they'll do like a special event at your local multiplex. So
that might
maybe
be
it's
cool.
something to look out for if you want to see it again on the big screen, which maybe I should do. In fact, isn't it also the 50th anniversary of Dirty Harry? I got to see if they're going to put Dirty Harry again on the big screen. I would like to see that on the big screen. Okay, but I guess we got to get to the news now. To the not so great present days, but we will persevere.
By way of transitioning, I did want to comment. Rosefire, based on what I was talking about earlier, wants to know 5 accurate historical films. I've kind of talked a little bit about this, but I've never done like a ranking like that. And I said, I need some time to think about that. Maybe another Good Old Days or even a last call about historic films, because I do feel so strongly about it. But yes, you're absolutely right that Pearl Harbor was terrible. I compare it to Titanic. Pearl Harbor is to the actual events what Titanic was to the actual events. It's a fictional story with a background setting that was real history, and the real history isn't even really honored. So that is not the movie you want to watch if you want to see Pearl Harbor. In fact, if you want to see a better Pearl Harbor movie, and it didn't even focus specifically just on Pearl Harbor. Oh, what was that one just recent? Midway. See Midway.
Which was odd because it was by the same producers, right? Or the same director.
Midway would have been a much better, and I've said this before in other streams, Midway would have been a much better film if they'd have broken it into 3 films.
Right.
They kind of condensed a bunch of basically the war in the Pacific into one movie, when what they really should have done was retold the story of Pearl Harbor, and then with the same cast led into the next. That was a much, much better depiction. So let me think about that. Maybe someday in the near future we'll talk about that. But if from there we can kind of pivot into we've talked about how great Hollywood used to be. Maybe now we're going to start talking about how not.
I keep wondering if Disney, if anything like The Godfather will come out of current Disney, or not that they're the ones that put it out. Well, actually, no, Godfather was Paramount. Never mind.
But those great Hollywood moments, right? I mean, Disney had their great Hollywood moments. Think about the first feature-length animated film in
Mary Poppins, Snow White.
No, I was going to all animation with
Flowers and Trees,
Snow White,
Yeah.
And whatnot. And yes, the combination of live action and animation, pushing the envelopes of animation, all of that. When was the last time we were able to look at Disney and say they did something better than anyone else? They were the first. They're pushing the envelope. What they're pushing the envelope on is woke wankery, as Doomcock puts it.
Because I'm trying to figure out what I think the last Disney movie I saw that I enjoyed, and I know this one got flack, but I really did like Tron Legacy when it came out. And
I did too.
What else they did with that? I think all the people that were naysaying it were haters anyway.
Well,
I didn't like the original Tron.
The mixed blessing is that Tron was something original when it first came out.
Yeah.
It doesn't have a great deal of, EU to it, so to speak. So they could do anything with it and not run afoul, as long as you don't, step on the previous movies established continuity, right?
Yeah.
And you can't say that they did. Everything that they did with
didn't.
it was good.
No, and what I thought was fascinating about it was they didn't just regurgitate the same villain. They had what I thought was interesting. It was evil Jeff Bridges. Basically, was evil Flynn. I mean,
which when you think about it, it really is that whole the artificial life form, being the dark mirror of its creator, right?
Yeah.
Whether you're talking about Frankenstein or any other series of things, but this idea that you try to impress yourself, and it doesn't even have to be artificial intelligence. It could be raising your kids and dealing with you instilled things in them that was part of you, and who they are is directly a result of what the parents are.
Right.
And they see the reflection of themselves in their kids.
Yeah.
But
because even his mannerisms were something like Flynn's, but he wasn't Flynn.
and talk about see, a lot of people talk about the CG, right? The creepy, de-aging and stuff, and it's like, but we're talking about a CG character. We're talking about a program, right?
Yeah.
If there's going to be anything that's off and creepy, that's where I mean, when you look at his like mouth and teeth, they really had not gotten that right yet. And it reminded me a lot of like Lawnmower Man or Max Headroom, from the 80s. And I'm like, that's perfect. That's good. That works.
DeLisi was a fan of the first Tron. I'm wearing a Tron t-shirt right now, but the sequel kind of went in one ear and out the other. Wanted to like it, but I don't remember a thing. You know what I am going to say to you, deleted scenes? If you ever get a chance, watch the Disney animated series, which was a really good animated series they had, which naturally it was great, so Disney put it to the side. But what we did get out of it,
on that.
He did?
Mm-hmm.
No way. Okay, he did. Well, congratulations, because I thought the Tron Uprising was
some of the best stuff about that show. I attribute to Carmen Pasha. Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know this. That will be fascinating for him to talk about. Maybe I'll look for him. Maybe he's talking about it. Tron Uprising kind of bridges the gap between the movies, and it actually made me appreciate Tron Legacy a lot more by watching that animated series, because things start to make a little more sense, because I'm learning the history of what happened between the two films. So okay, now a lot of this is making sense. But again, we're almost getting into another good old days, so we'll do Tron another week.
We'll have to save that for another week. Yeah, exactly.
I like Tron Legacy. I did too, but like I said, Tron Uprising, yeah. So anyway, let's talk about Disney now. Let's talk about Disney now, which I think after they started acquiring everything like Borg.
And do you mind if I set the stage for it?
Do it right now.
I think everybody knows where we're going with this, but just to get everyone on the same page, the context here is that we've been talking about Disney's lack of stance on Florida 1557, the Parental Rights in Education Bill, which is now signed into law. And we talked about Chapek's internal communications regarding it, how it was very clear that Disney did not want to take any particular stance on it. And then things just kind of went to crap. They gave in to pressure from that small, boisterous minority within Disney. And Chapek apologized, which you never do with these people. And it's kind of spiraled out of control from there. That's kind of what we're going to be looking at just this week. I mean, honestly, what a crazy friggin' week this has been for the news. I just kept sending notes and Boomer was sending notes back to me, this article, that article, and they were all about two topics. And something else would happen, and then something else would happen, and then something. That's what tonight's going to be.
Okay, so should I go into the first article?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. I'm going to read directly from the article, since this was Something was sort of behind a wall. You got a first article free, so I went ahead and saved it as a PDF. So I'm going to read it. Okay. Disney executives outline quote unquote gay agenda, push for more queer characters in internal meeting. Executives and producers at the Walt Disney Company said during a recent internal meeting that there will be a renewed effort to make leading characters in films and shows gay or transgender, with one talking about how she has been working to enact a quote unquote not at all secret gay agenda in several programs. Carrie Burke, president of Disney General Entertainment Content, said during the meeting that she is the mother of 2 quote unquote queer children, including one who identifies as a different gender than the one they were born. Burke said Disney has already been home to quote unquote incredible groundbreaking LGBTQIA stories over the years, but during a recent open company forum, a different executive lamented that there had only been, quote unquote, a handful of queer leads. LGBTQIA stands for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersex, and asexual. The introduction of a bill in Florida of a law that bans discussing quote unquote sexual orientation or gender identity in kindergarten through 3rd grade. Governor Ron DeSantis signed the legislation on March 28th, and the resulting pushback from some Disney workers served as a wake-up call, Burke said. We have many LGBTQIA characters in our stories, and yet we don't have enough leads and narratives in which gay characters just get to be characters and not have to be about gay stories. That's been very eye-opening for me, and I can tell you it's something that I feel perhaps had this moment not happened, I as a leader and me and my colleagues would not have focused on, she told colleagues and other Disney employees. Going forward, I certainly will be more so. I know that we will be, and I hope this is a moment where we just don't allow each other to go backwards. The video and several other clips from the meeting were obtained and posted online by Christopher Rufo, a filmmaker and senior fellow at the Manhattan Institute. Here's another quote. I've spoken with a number of Disney employees who say the company has totally gone off the rails. From critical race theory to gender ideology, executives are pushing extreme left-wing activism in every facet of the company, from erasing the words boys and girls from its theme parks to tracking canonical trans characters in its children's programs, Rufo told the Epoch Times via email. Disney, which did not respond to requests for comment on March 11th, spoke out against the Parental Rights in Education bill using the name promoted by its critics. Disney CEO Bob Chapek told all workers at the time that he had heard from employees about their quote-unquote pain, frustration, sadness over Disney's response to the bill, adding that the legislation constituted a challenge to basic human rights. You needed me to be a stronger ally in the fight for equal rights, and I let you down. I am sorry, Chapek wrote. He said Disney would immediately increase support for advocacy groups opposing similar legislation in other states, and that he would be a quote-unquote an outspoken champion for the protection, visibility, and opportunity that the LGBTQ plus community deserves. In a statement after DeSantis signed the legislation, Disney stated its goal for the law to be repealed or struck down in courts. Before signing the bill, DeSantis decried what he has described as classroom materials for young children containing content about sexuality and woke gender ideology, which he said was inappropriate for young children and something parents don't want taught. In Florida, officials found at least 6 school districts with troublesome policies, including a district that let students transition to a different gender without getting consent from the students' parents. On Tuesday, DeSantis said Disney's statement about the company's goal crossed the line, adding, "This state is governed by the interests of the people of the state of Florida. It is not based on the demands of California corporate executives. They do not run the state. They do not control the state." Christina Pushaw, press secretary for DeSantis, told the Epoch Times in an email that Disney built a brand as a family-friendly company, calling it a quote-unquote tremendous mistake to throw away in order to advocate for sex and gender ideology in grades kindergarten to 3rd grade. Other videos released by Rufo showed Disney diversity and inclusion manager Vivian Ward describing how the company changed all of their greetings at its theme parks, shifting from ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls to hello everyone and hello friends. We want to create that magical moment with our cast members, with our casts, and we don't want to assume that because someone might be in our interpretation, may be presenting as female that they may not want to be called princess, War said. Disney production coordinator Alan March, meanwhile, talked about how he's been working with the team making Moon Girl for 2 years. The team has really been exploring queer stories, and there is an increasing realization that primary characters should be transgender, asexual, or bisexual to better explore those aspects, March said. Another clip featured Latoya Raveneux, an executive producer working on The Proud Family and Eureka, saying she'd heard before joining Disney that the company discouraged portraying gay and transgender characters, but after being hired, found that wasn't the case. Disney leadership and showrunners have been so welcoming to my not at all secret gay agenda, she said. I felt like maybe it was that way in the past, but I guess something must have happened. They're turning it around. They're going hard, Ravenous said, adding that she just wherever I could, adding queerness, and no one would stop me. No one was trying to stop me. James Lindsay, founder of the New Discourses, told the Epoch Times in a Twitter message that the video exposes an ideology called queer theory, which has been described as being aimed at ensuring people's identities are never stable. Queer theory isn't support for LGBT. It is something you have to be groomed into, he said. It's a Marxist approach to sex, gender, sexuality, and health that sees normal as bourgeoisie property that must be abolished.
Yeah.
Okay. One of the things at least for me, that I pointed out, I remember months back when people were decrying is dreamers of all ages, and people were criticizing, saying, "Oh, they're getting rid of the boys and girls and stuff up here. Oh, you're just imagining things. They just changed it."
Yeah.
No, that was purposeful, and they were admitting now that was purposeful. That what the people on the traditional people were complaining about, it was indeed what they thought.
And it's funny because I was gonna save this for later, but if you don't mind, I want to read the Disney's official statement from their official webpage. This was dated March 28th, so this was the beginning of last week. Statement from Walt Disney Company on signing of Florida legislation. The following statement may be attributed to a spokesperson, because they would not say spokesperson for the Walt Disney Company. Florida HB 1557, also known as the Don't Say Gay bill, should never have passed and should never have been signed into law. Our goal as a company is for this law to be repealed by the legislature or struck down in the courts, and we remain committed to supporting the national and state organizations working to achieve that. We are dedicated to standing up for the rights and safety of LGBTQ plus members of the Disney family, as well as the LGBTQ community in Florida and across the country. And the two contacts, that are listed here are David Jefferson, Corporate Communications, and very unfortunately named Jeffrey Epstein, Corporate Communications.
Jeffrey Epstein.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I'm sorry. There's no way around this. This is an official statement from Disney that they are specifically saying may be attributed to a spokesperson for the Walt Disney Company. Whatever might be going on behind the scenes, whatever 4D chess, the board members might be playing, this is what they're saying officially. We as a company are, despite what was said earlier about us not wanting to get involved with politics, we want to get involved in politics and push an agenda. That's what this statement says.
I want to read a comment from Rosefire here. Chapek is failing leadership like Denethor, but DeSantis is holding his ground like King Theoden and Helm's Deep. Now, I don't know how you're feeling right now about Chapek. I know that we have tried defending him over the past few weeks because we did initially. In fact, he even said that he was staying silent on this in the beginning, remember?
Right.
Yeah. So I don't know now, and I don't know if maybe he is just trying to, as you might say, play some 4D chess, but The fact is that this is how people are seeing it now.
We'll kind of get into this a little bit more with the next article.
Okay.
But yeah, we've seen it over and over and over again where he lets certain things happen. It blows up in Disney's face. He takes it on the chin and things get changed, right? You know, the whole concept of give someone enough rope, they'll hang themselves, right? Kind of takes care of the problem for you. And one argument that I have seen made is he's saying, okay, fine. We'll let this fly. We'll let the gay kiss back into Lightyear and see how that movie does. And if it bombs, then, you know, the dollars have spoken and we're a company. We do what works. Then something like this comes out and it's like, so you're putting your agendas above dollars is what we're seeing. So
not only that, but they're wanting to interfere with the government and legislative process of a state, you know,
which I think is the perfect lead into this next article.
All right. So
that was Wednesday, 3:30. Now the following day, Thursday the 31st, here's the response.
Okay. I want to make a point too. Last week I had said that the bill was about parental consent and what's being taught, and you were saying it was about, oh no, the stuff can't be taught in grades K through K through 3. Yeah, what it actually is. What it actually is K through 3. It's blocked. After that, it's a parental consent thing. Like the parents have to know what's being taught in the class. So that's why.
And although we don't have an article about this did come up recently. Former Disney child actor Raven Simone decided to get her 2 cents in, and she said, well, I think to be fair, there should be a don't say straight bill. And everyone's sitting there going, hey, dumbass, you people are the ones that keep calling it the don't say gay bill. This bill actually is a don't say straight bill.
Yes.
It's don't say straight, don't say gay, don't say anything about sexuality.
Leaving the kids alone to teach them the basic stuff they have to learn, as you and I learned in school too. No one was talking about anything like this when I was in K through 3.
I know.
Were they with you? I mean, I don't remember.
No. If I were to ask a question that was, you know, on the sensitive topic, the parents or the teachers would always say, you know what, you should talk to your mom and dad about that.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, they're not going to teach you the birds and the bees. Okay, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis on Thursday signaled support for stripping Disney of its 55-year-old special status that allows the entertainment company to operate as an independent government around its Orlando area theme park. In its latest fallout from the feud between DeSantis, a Republican widely seen as a potential 2024 presidential contender, and Disney, Florida's largest private employer, over a measure that bans schools from teaching young children about sexual orientation or gender identity. After DeSantis signed the bill into law early Monday, the Walt Disney Company wrote in a statement that its quote-unquote goal was to get the law repealed or defeated in the courts. Oh, I guess corporations are people. I'm sorry. I don't mean to throw that out there. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, DeSantis previously said Disney, quote unquote, crossed the line with that statement. On Thursday, DeSantis went further, suggesting Disney's special privileges could be lifted. Disney is alien. Yeah.
We should really kind of, you know, back up and kind of explain what, you know, the Reedy Creek Improvement District is and why that well, you know what, if I let you read, I think they probably get to that in this article.
Okay, well, let me know if you need me to stop.
Sure.
Disney has alienated a lot of people now, DeSantis said at a West Palm Beach press conference, and so the political influence they're used to wielding, I think, has dissipated. And so the question is, why would you want to have special privileges in the law at all? And I don't think that we should. DeSantis's remarks follow a revelation that some Republican state lawmakers are considering repealing a 1967 state law that established the Reedy Creek Improvement District, giving Disney the power to establish its own government in Central Florida. Yesterday was the second meeting in a week with fellow legislators to discuss a repeal of the 1967 Reedy Creek Improvement Act, which allows Disney to act as its own government, said State Representative Spencer Roach, a Republican, wrote Wednesday on Twitter. If Disney wants to embrace woke ideology, it seems fitting that they should be regulated by by Orange County. Lawmakers recently concluded their legislative business for the year and would not be able to repeal the act until they meet again next year, unless DeSantis or legislative leaders convene a special session to address it. Maybe convene that special session.
Well, what this article does not point out, and this is again, this is media not doing their due diligence. There actually already is a special session scheduled for this month that is going to be talking about a number of topics. This may very well be one of them. The other is concealed carry. Constitutional carry in Florida. And there's a couple of other topics that are going to be discussed. So it's entirely possible that could be happening this month. But CNN doesn't, bother to, complete their research and provide that kind of information. So this Reedy Creek Improvement Act, you really should look into it if you don't know what that is. It literally was and as the article says, 1967 signed in to Florida state law, and it essentially has, and I'm oversimplifying it, but it makes Disney a city unto itself. It literally is a self-governing city. It's a corporation. It's a corptocracy, or whatever you want to call it. It's Disney has their own utilities. They have their own fire department, their own, ambulance company, and so forth. I've heard other channels say if they wanted to, they could build a nuclear power plant on the site. I don't know about that. That might be getting into some federal laws, but as far as
I'm imagining mouse ears attached to a nuclear power plant stack.
Well, and it does seem like the exact kind of thing you would have expected back in 1967 at like Epcot.
Yes.
It would have made perfect sense back then, right? And although I doubt the veracity of that, in reality, the concept is there. From a state law point of view, they would not have to go to the state of Florida with that. It would be directly between Disney and the federal government. So in that regard, that's true. Okay. And think about that. For all of you people out there that, bemoan the fact that corporations are treated as entities for the purposes of political action committees and stuff like that, and how they contribute money to governments. Okay, that's a real problem. Why do we want corporations that are not something you have control over as an individual? Okay, remember this law that was passed, right, was passed by duly elected representatives of the state that were voted into office by the voting citizens of Florida. Okay. The majority of Florida is conservative. It just is. Okay. That's why Ron DeSantis is the governor. That is why this law passed. Okay. Disney as a corporation, a bunch of rich elites that answer to nobody except themselves, should not have control over, you don't like it, you can move out of Florida. Okay. You want your kids to learn something else, you can homeschool them or move to California or wherever you want to move to. You're perfectly free to do that. That's, one of the great things about the freedom in this country. And they're basically saying, yeah, you know what? Maybe corporations don't deserve that kind of special treatment. And we're going to have to really start rethinking that. Disney is in a really crappy situation now. They're on very shaky legal ground here. If the state decides to pull that, they're kind of effed. Mm-hmm. Now, going back to what we were saying in the previous thing, this could absolutely be the cover that Bob Chapek and Disney need. Okay, look, we could cease to exist as an entity in Florida here. You'll all be out of work. We need to tone it back. We need to understand where our place is in law. It is not our place to push an agenda.
So you're saying he wants the Republican Party to be playing and the legislature to be playing the bad cop here?
I mean, yeah, from that particular perspective, yeah, it could be. But if they don't, this could get really bad for Disney very quickly. Now, I've heard
we'll see.
I've heard some other channels taking this to the ridiculous, ad absurdum, right? The idea that, well, they could just take and move Disney somewhere else. Really?
No.
They don't. I'm sorry. Disney is big and powerful, but not nearly as big and powerful as they used to be. They don't have the funds. They can't just pick up and move the friggin' park.
The whole point.
They're not going to move it to California. That's for damn sure.
What are they talking about? The whole point was Walt Balt. Okay. People don't know. People don't understand the history of those theme parks.
Right.
Walt ended up building Disneyland, but did not have the foresight to buy a lot of other land around Disneyland. And then sometimes sleazy things were opening up next door to Disneyland, and he didn't have any control over it. When he was redoing the park in Florida, he bought a lot of land down there, so they'd have room to expand in the future, and wouldn't have to worry about things going up next to Disneyland that they didn't like that might go against the family-friendly image.
The bottom line there is that Disney literally owns that land.
So they're not going to throw that away over
They're not just going to move away from that. They'd have to sell all that land. That land has to be developed, that kind of stuff.
The only thing I can think of is that the company was packed with these leftist activists, because I believe Bob Iger wants to run, or at least at the time was thinking about a presidential run.
Yeah.
And this was to get in as good, and who knows, he may still do that. But I don't know. That's my idea.
What's gonna determine that is what happens at the midterm elections and the next presidential election. I think we're going to see a lot of changes happening, and my prediction is that the conditions under which Iger thinks he would win political office have passed. He's missed that window of opportunity, and things are going to be turning against that trend. But this is another thing that will demonstrate what happens in Florida is going to demonstrate that too.
Daniel Heron says, can a public school teacher of any age group talk about how Jesus is their personal Lord and Savior?
Yeah, see, and that's the thing that I've pointed out too. All these same people that are pushing for this, especially the teachers talking about, well, this infringes on my right to talk about my life with my kids and blah, 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 and this and that. And it's like, yes, you are absolutely limited in what you can talk to other people's kids about, especially of a certain age. You are not allowed to talk about your sexuality. You are not allowed to talk about your religion. Yes, it is absolutely appropriate for the government to censor itself. That's basically what public school is, right? First Amendment applies to you and me as private citizens in our own personal lives and out in the public. It doesn't apply to us as employees within a private company, and it doesn't apply to government agents working within their employ.
Rosefire. If someone tried to talk to me about sexual orientation to me when I was 5 to 8 years old, my dad would take out his gun, and my mom would be furious. No way they'd let a creep talk to me about that stuff.
This is what a lot of commenters have been saying, even pretty middle of the road, not terribly, to the right or left type people are saying, yeah, this is grooming. That's what this is. This really is sexualizing of children in a way that is absolutely inappropriate and does not belong in the private school. We already fought this battle about religion in school. It's done. Okay. It applies here too. These debates have already been fought and settled. So, but they want to fight this battle again, which brings us to the next article.
Yeah, so here we go. Next article is LGBT groups sue Florida over the so-called "Don't Say Gay" law. Okay. And
so you'll notice that we read from 3 different media outlets: the Epic Times, CNN, and NPR now. And you'll notice that Epic Times did a great job of referring to, FL 1557, Parental Rights in Education Bill. And they specifically said, and when talking about it, they used a different term that has become popular for it, but they didn't say what it was, right?
Yep.
Whereas these two keep calling it the frickin' Don't Say Gay bill. That is what we call bias in journalism.
Yeah, I know. Gay rights advocates sued Florida Governor Ron DeSantis on Thursday to block a new law that forbids classroom instruction on sexual orientation and gender identity in kindergarten through 3rd grade. The law had...
Stop right there for a second. At least let's give them kudos when they do something right. They did properly describe what the bill does. Okay. They didn't say in describing it, you can't talk about being gay. Okay. They acknowledged it's about talking about any sexuality at all. But go on.
The law had catapulted Florida and DeSantis, a potential 2024 Republican presidential candidate, to the forefront of the country's culture wars. Critics call it the "Don't Say Gay" law and argue that its true intent is to marginalize LGBTQ people and their families. The challenge, filed in federal court in Tallahassee on behalf of the Equality Florida and Family Equality, alleges that the law violates the constitutionally protected rights of free speech, equal protection, and due process of students and families. This effort to control young minds through state censorship and to demand LGBTQ lives by denying their reality is a grave abuse of power, the lawsuit says. The United States Supreme Court has repeatedly affirmed that LGBTQ people and their families are at home in our constitutional order. The state of Florida has no right to declare them outcasts or treat their allies as outlaws by punishing schools where someone dares to affirm their identity and dignity, the lawsuit says. The law deliberately employs broad terms and invites arbitrary and discriminatory enforcement, empowering parents to be roving censors who can sue school boards for damages based on any perceived violation, the lawsuit adds. The law states classroom instruction by school personnel or third parties on sexual orientation or gender identity may not occur in kindergarten through grade 3 or in a manner that is not age appropriate or developmentally appropriate for students in accordance with the state standards. Mm-hmm. Parents would be able to sue districts over violations. U.S. Education Secretary Miguel Cardona met with LGBTQ students and their family members at a school in Orlando on Thursday, discussing privately how the legislation is affecting their lives. Cardona's visit was one of several Biden administration events Thursday showing support for the queer community, including a presidential proclamation recognizing Transgender Day of Visibility. We know while many transgender students experience valuable support at school, many others face significant challenges because of hostility directed at them by others, Cardona said. This includes a growing number of state laws that bully and intimidate LGBTQIA plus students and their families. DeSantis and other Republicans have repeatedly described the rules as reasonable, saying children should learn about sexual orientation and gender identity from their parents, not in schools. We will make sure that parents can send their kids to school to get an education, not an indoctrination, the government said when he signed it into law this week. The law has fueled to the persistent feud between DeSantis and Democratic President Joe Biden, who tweeted after DeSantis signed the bill this week that my administration will continue to fight for dignity and opportunity for every student and family in Florida and around the country. Cardona has said his agency will be monitoring for any federal civil rights violations that result.
So here's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
So legal predictions here. And again, I'm not a lawyer, but so don't take anything I say as any kind of legal advice. But I will look forward to seeing what happens with this in the court. I don't even know if it's going to make it past the first stage. Court should throw this out and say, that it doesn't even have the standing, of the law that you're bringing. But if it makes it to the first phase, I see it getting thrown out quite easily, just basically because of what I said before. This does not infringe on anyone's First Amendment rights. This already falls under previously established case law related to religion being taught to kids in school. It'll be interesting. And see, this is the other problem too. These people are assuming there's things in the bill without having read the bill, which makes it very difficult to fight in court, because in court they will really look at the receipts and they will really look at what's actually in the law. And if what you think is in the law is not in the law, you don't have a case. Okay. And I mean, that's exactly what we're talking about here. You can make a lot of points on social media with dumb people that don't read the law, but you're not going to get very far in the court system for that. And furthermore, if you don't have that analytical legal mind to think these things through, I like to refer to the Sesame Street "What Happens Next," okay, which is a segment that teaches kids to think through what they do and understand consequences. Right? You're sitting on a table. If I pull this leg out from under the table, what happens next? What happens next is I'm going to fall. Right? Okay. And a lot of people are learning, on the left are learning by going to court and taking people to court, taking cities and states and whatnot to court. These things go up to the highest court of the land and they get struck down. And now it's no longer state law. Now it's federal law. Right? They got a big win with gay marriage that way, but they're getting a lot of big losses by trying to challenge state gun control laws, because we still have that Second Amendment that exists. And unless you repeal that always trumps any state law. So, you sue on that, and suddenly the law in New York is shot down, but it strikes it down for the entire country, and the same thing's going to happen here. You're going to have this, fighting what you're calling is a "don't say gay" bill. The other attorney says it's not that. First off, it's not a "don't say gay" bill. It's "don't teach sexuality to underage kids" law. This should be simple common sense. But let me reference this case and this case and this case where we're not allowed to talk about religion without the consent of the parents. We're also not allowed to talk about sex without the parents. This is already established case law.
This already tells me that they are terrified of a presidential run from Governor DeSantis. That's what a lot of this is telling me.
I hadn't drawn that extrapolation, but I'm not going to argue that with you. I'm sure
this
some
is why,
people are
Biden keeps throwing his hat in to attack the governor. He must be a popular, if not with the next election, with maybe the following one. I don't know. Yeah. He's obviously a contender. They don't like that. They are trying to attack him on every.
And ironically, this is exactly how Donald Trump won, right? You attack him for things that are very popular, right?
Well, that's the other thing.
That is the huge problem. These deep state people think that the world is Twitter and that these special interest groups, speak for everybody, whereas people like Trump and DeSantis speak for the general population. And then surprise, surprise, the people that aren't speaking out on social media are the ones that go and vote, and they win. Shocker.
This is also the, not that I want to necessarily get political on this channel, but of course it pops up because Disney are the ones who decide to get political, and they should have butted out of this. It's not their concern how states. That's why you have candidates. You're not supposed to. Okay, what was I going to say? Anyway, no, the Republicans with this, they're actually trying to wrestle the issue of education back from the Democrats, where it used to always belong. The Democrats were usually always polling strong on education.
Sure.
But since the pandemic hit and parents were seeing what was going on in these classrooms, and also now he's trying to pass this legislation.
Sure. Surface level, people go, well, education, good. Progressiveness in that regard, good. Availability of information, good. But then when you see, wait, this isn't education, this is indoctrination. Yeah, that's not good.
Let's be honest here. Let's say this bill does get shot down. Does that even work in the favor of the Democrats, or are people going to be angry that it got shot down? Won't this end up being worse?
Let's play that Sesame Street. What happens next? Let's say that does happen. Okay, what happens next? Then the religious groups come out and say, well, then you have no business barring me from talking about my religion. And you can talk about, Jimmy's two daddies, but I also get to talk about how Jesus is my personal Lord and Savior, and he should be yours too, or you'll go to hell.
And this is all
and everybody's hair starts to curl,
What did I want to say though? But I do find it interesting. My thought while all this was going on, has the Walt Disney Company declared war on the Republican Party? Because that's what it's been feeling like. And is that smart?
Well, in the short term on this particular thing in Florida, yeah. There's no other way to say it. And you could say it's a feint. You could say it's, it's 4D chess, but we got to say what we see here. You can argue there are no weapons of mass destruction, but when, Saddam Hussein is saying, I have weapons of mass destruction and I'm planning to use them. You know what? Let's take him at his word and bomb the shit out of him.
Yeah. So
it's not our fault he lied about it and he didn't have what he said he had.
So I don't know what Chapek is doing right now. Like I said, I think he's had a bad week, provided, I don't know, man. His words, I don't know. What were we talking about here? Hold on. But yeah, I don't know.
I think this thing has basically come to a head, and we just have to wait and see how this goes. I've given my prediction, but if it goes the opposite way, I've told you what my prediction is going that way too.
I suspect a lot of people are going to be dumping their Disney stock over this too.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people already talking about how Disney's taken a hit over this.
Okay,
and this is exactly the kind of thing that, again, Disney can't afford. They were starting to turn this thing around as far as the stocks go. And, this is something they can act on very quickly and say, look, we can't afford this. We're a business. You don't like it, go somewhere else. And this is, again, the whole populist point of view, right? Who do you want as your whether it's your political base or your business base? Do you want the majority or do you want the minority? If you want the minority, you don't get voted into office and your business goes bankrupt. If you want to get elected, if you want to start a movement, if you really want people behind you, you go for the populists, right? If you want a successful business, you do what the Daily Wire is doing. Look at Jeremy's razors.
Yeah.
You
get away from, I make a point that there was that movie about the Scopes Monkey trial, and they said, hey, are you with the they go to the hot dog vendor, are you with the evolutionary the evolution pushers or the creationists? And the hot dog guy who owns the hot dog stand says, I'm not taking a side, they're both my customers.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay.
That's exactly it.
Okay. We're not going to spend too much time on this. Obi-Wan Kenobi premiere date moves back 2 days with double episode opener.
We put this here because it's still technically Disney, but it has nothing to do with that previous thing.
Let's hope not.
Yeah. Right.
let's hope not that
right.
There'll be a Governor DeSantis stand-in the Obi-Wan series that Obi-Wan has to kill her. Sorry. Yeah. Okay, Disney Plus has moved the premiere date for its next Star Wars series, Obi-Wan Kenobi, originally set for May 25th. The streamer has pushed it back 2 days to May 27th, the Friday before Memorial Day weekend, with a 2-episode launch. Ewan McGregor, who stars as the title character in the limited series, announced the move Thursday on a video on Twitter. The new date also sets up an intergalactic streaming war battle with Netflix's Stranger Things Part 1 of the series. 4th season also premieres that same day, May 27th. I have a question.
Yep.
Does this make a difference when it comes to streaming? A person can just watch one of one and one of the other.
Yes, it does. And this is where I would recommend people listen to Valiant Renegade. It has to do with them demonstrating their numbers about the value of their show, right? The viewership,
right,
in the short term, in the 24 hours after release.
Good point.
What do people watch first as opposed to second? I mean, you could make the argument that do investors really care about that? I think these metrics are still working themselves out because this is still a new and emerging way of advertising and dealing with this form of entertainment. But be that as it may, this is the thought process that they're operating under right now.
Stranger Things lost me with its last season, but I'll talk about that another time.
I would argue, though, that I think this has less to do with Stranger Things and more to do with their the Ms. Marvel show that was originally going to be airing immediately after Obi-Wan.
Interesting. Okay. They're retooling it, maybe?
So originally it was meant to be a Wednesday release, and you would watch Obi-Wan, and then eyes would continue on for the Marvel show, right? And I am suspecting that Disney is going, you know what? We're going to separate the two. People that want to watch Obi-Wan can watch it on Friday, and then there's the whole Stranger Things. That's a different, topic. But Ms. Marvel on Wednesday is going to have to sink or swim on its own. I think that the Marvel side was hoping to garner the viewership from at Obi-Wan. Least the initial, get a few eyes on it, at least for the start of the show, from Obi-Wan to say, yay, and boost their numbers a little bit. When in reality, let's see how it does completely on its own.
I wonder how Moon Knight's doing. Yeah, that's a topic for another time.
Yeah.
The new date also sets of intergalactic. Okay, we already said that. Obi-Wan Kenobi sees the return of Ewan McGregor as the younger Obi-Wan. Hayden Christensen is expected to return as Darth Vader. Mm-hmm. Also starring are Moses Ingram, Joe Edgerton, Bonnie Piesse, Kumail Nanjiani, Indira Varma, Rupert Friend, O'Shea Jackson Jr., Sung Kang, Simone Kessel, and Benny Safdie.
I'm sure it's a great cast, yeah.
Okay, so the story begins 10 years after the dramatic events of Star Wars, Revenge of the Sith, where Kenobi, played by Ewan McGregor, faces his greatest defeat, the downfall and corruption of his best friend and Jedi apprentice Anakin Skywalker, turned evil Sith Lord Darth Vader. Obi-Wan Kenobi is directed by Deborah Chow, who directed 2 episodes of The Mandalorian Season 1. The only interesting thing I can see about me having Hayden Christensen, if they show us like flashback scenes, maybe to before he, like during the Clone Wars or something. I don't know.
There is a whole lot of speculation, but there are some scenes from the Clone Wars that if they turn them into live action could be really brilliant. No guarantees. That's not based on anything, just, speculation of fans. But there was some good stuff in the Clone Wars that, if canonized in this way, would be brilliant.
All right, so we'll see.
And it would not be the first time that's happened, because we have already seen in Clone Wars, especially the last season, there were some great scenes that directly paralleled what was happening in Revenge of the Sith, and actual scenes that were literally turned into cartoon versions in order to directly parallel.
Right, for that final season they did.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if they do some stuff like that, could be really, really brilliant. But the other thing too is they're putting it on Friday. They're putting it up against Stranger Things, and you're not losing anything by them pushing it off 2 days, because they're giving us a double episode. They're basically giving us episodes 1 and 2 back to back.
Okay.
All of those things speak to Disney believing they really have something here. Now, you could make the argument, but Stranger Things still going to do better, because Stranger Things drops the entire series on that night, and Disney is only dropping 2 episodes. They're not trying to compete on that level. They're just trying to say, yeah, but with 2 episodes, we still make a dent.
You know what?
That
I have
says
to
something.
say, I don't understand this whole we're gonna do 1 episode a week like it was a regular television station. I don't know why they don't dump it all at once. Is this because they're afraid people are just gonna watch it and then dump the channel? I mean, they have to pay for a month anyway. I don't know. I think people like to
Well, but how many episodes
watch at
are?
their
If
own
there's
pace.
more than 4
6
episodes,
episodes. It's 6 episodes.
yeah, you need to keep them hooked for 2 months with that. And that's exactly what they're doing. And I had predicted they would do that a long time ago. A lot of people are kind of wondering why Netflix is still doing this the way they are. Now, there's some other big differences. We're not comparing apples and oranges here. I mean, we are comparing apples and oranges. We're not comparing apples to apples. Disney, if I'm not mistaken, have they already started this where they have a tier level where you have
commercials? Yes.
Commercials and not commercials.
I believe
there you
they
go.
Have, yeah.
That's another reason to space it out for commercial reasons.
I didn't think about that.
Whereas Netflix does not have that. I don't think.
I don't believe they do. It's been a while since I've been
so there's that kind of minutia matters in the marketing of these things. And I think what's better, I don't know. I'm sure these things are still working themselves out in the market. I've got my opinions, but I don't have the numbers to back it up. And until those numbers play out, we'll see how these things go. But I think both methods, the drop it all at once Netflix method and the drop it weekly Disney model, both have their merits. They both have their upsides and downsides, and you can argue which one you like better, which one you think is better, in marketing terms. But be that as it may, that's not really where the competition is. I think this is more about letting Ms. Marvel sink or swim on the Disney side than it does competing with Stranger Things, on the Obi-Wan side.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Anyway, this comes out when?
This is May 27th from May 25th. Yeah.
All right. So we're moving on to the big story of the week, which I'm sure all of you are tired of hearing about, and I don't care because we're talking about it. Will Smith slaps Chris Rock in the face on Oscar stage after jab at wife Jada Pinkett's appearance.
Mm-hmm.
We ended the last week's stream with us basically talking about
this. Because it had literally just happened while we were on stream. So
I didn't even know the Oscars were on that night.
I know. And so we did the thing where, we're bringing you the news, breaking news. This is what people are going to be talking about this week. And that was my prediction. This is what people are going to be talking about this week, the smackening. And boy, was I right.
Well, another news, I'm just going to touch this briefly. The Best Picture apparently is only available on Apple TV Plus streaming. I don't think it ever got a theatrical release, and it's on like the least watched streaming service. But let's have that win Best Picture.
That is so funny.
This is stupid. This ceremony is stupid. At least put it in theaters for people to see.
Maybe we're putting the cart in front of the horse by saying this, but I think this whole thing has definitely demonstrated that nobody gives a crap about the Oscars. This is what it took to get them talking about it, and it has very much undermined any serious reason to. The Oscars have lost all credibility with this thing, but we're going to
have some interesting comments.
And I did break it down day by day. This matters. The dates matter. So make sure you know. Yeah.
I tell the dates. This is from.
I would.
All right. Well, this is.
So this first one is from 3/27. This was literally the day.
It happened.
This was last week. This was during our show. Yeah.
So Chris Rock got more than he may have bargained for as a presenter at the 94th Academy Awards, while presenting the award for Best Documentary Feature, which ultimately went to Questlove's Summer of Soul. He made a joke at the expense of Will Smith's wife, Jada Pinkett Smith, leading to an onstage altercation that was not scripted and drew gasps from the room, according to sources. Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it, Rock said, with reference to Pinkett Smith's appearance. Will Smith seemed to be laughing following Rock's comment, but he then stunned the audience at the Dolby by storming the stage and slapping Rock in the face. Wow, said Rock afterwards. Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me. Smith's comments were bleeped when he returned to his seat, but it was apparent that he told Rock, keep my wife's name out of your effing mouth.
Yep.
Well, dude, it was a G.I. Jane joke, replied Rock. Keep my wife's name out of your effing mouth, Smith repeated as the audience went silent, according to people present. Pinkett Smith's appearance as a result of alopecia, an autoimmune disorder that she has been public about battling, which causes hair loss by attacking hair follicles. Sources tell us that Rock later approached the Smiths possibly to apologize, while Denzel Washington and Tyler Perry spoke with Will Smith during the commercial break. Bradley Cooper also was seen in a conversation with him. The moment was all the more surreal given the fact that Smith was nominated tonight for his turn in Warner Brothers sports drama King Richard, and would later return to the stage to claim the award for Best Actor as predicted. Will, Chris, we're going to solve that like a family at the Gold Party, presenter P. Diddy later said in the immediate aftermath. For now, we will move on with love. Later, when Smith returned to claim the prize for Best Actor, he chose to address the moment with Rock. I want to apologize to the Academy. I want to apologize to all my fellow nominees, he said, through tears. I hope Academy invites me back. Smith, it should be noted, did not apologize on stage to Rock. He instead alluded to what happened with reference to Richard Williams, the father of tennis sensations Venus and Serena, whom he portrayed in King Richard. Richard Williams was a fierce defender of his family. In this time of my life, in this moment, I am overwhelmed by what God is calling on me to do and be in this world, Smith said. Making this film, I got to protect Ondrani Ellis, who is one of the strongest, most delicate people I've ever met. I got to protect Sonia Sidney and Demi Singleton, two actresses that played Venus and Serena Williams. I'm being called on in my life to love people and to protect people and to be a river to my people. I know to do what we do, you've got to be able to take abuse. You've got to be able to have people talk crazy about you in this business. You've got to be able to have people disrespecting you, and you've got to smile and pretend like that's okay, he added. Denzel said to me a few moments ago, he said to me, at your highest moment, be careful. That's when the devil comes for you. But I want to be a vessel for love. Those are some interesting comments.
Yeah, and a lot of people have kind of called him to task on exactly that because, yep, devil came for you and you failed. You want to be a vessel of love. That ain't being a vessel of love. You talk about how people come at you and say crazy things and you just got to deal with it. That's not how you deal with it, pal. Yeah. You know, and that whole speech has blown up in his face. The whole event has blown up in his face. And as we go through literally every day, we've got another article of repercussions that have come of this. Initially, the talk was, well, it was staged. No, this was not staged. Yes, it was. No, it wasn't. So a lot of people, you know, I guess you'd call them conspiracy theorists saying, well, you know what, this was a bit. It looked like a bit because of this and this and this and this. And the reason for it was because they're trying to gin up the numbers for the, get people talking about the Oscars again.
You could hear the anger in his mouth when he was telling him to keep my wife's name out of the,
And Chris Rock is not that good an actor. You know, no. I mean, he just isn't. And he's a much better comedian than that. Yes. If he was going to take it, he'd have had better jokes lined up. To come back with, what did he say? Whoa, best night of TV ever. I mean, it's not that great a joke, but at least he's rolling with it and he's keeping the show going.
They actually gave him points for keeping.
You got to give him points for being a professional and continuing to roll with it. You just get punched in the face. Well, he didn't get punched in the face. He got slapped in the face, but same difference effectively. And he's, because in the aftermath, there have been a lot of jokes that I've seen on social media that have been that could have been much better. Could have been, oh, sorry, I talk about your hair, I get slapped, but I guess it would be okay if I slept with your wife. That's the joke that a lot of people think would have been the great comeback. But
no, that's him getting. It's Will Smith going back on the stage at that point, considering what's been going on.
And that would have been he'd have been arrested at that point if he went back.
Well, maybe he would have been. I don't know where the security was on this. I mean, to be honest with you, if I'm angry at anybody, I'm angry at the.
I don't think any of these articles really goes into that, but I've kind of been reading the behind the scenes. So the representative of the Academy went to Chris Rock and asked him directly, is this a bit? Nope. I just got bitch slapped. Okay, what do you want us to do? Nothing. Just let it go. Should we call it? No, I don't want to press charges. So there was that aspect of it entirely Chris Rock. Taking the high ground, I am not going to press charges. Calling the police was not even an option at that point if he's not going to press charges. It was all up to Chris Rock. And he said no. Again, being the professional, right? Now, the Academy letting him go up and collect his award for Best Actor, that's on the Academy. But there's been fallout since then, and that we'll get into as we go into the subsequent articles.
So, yeah, well, I want to say, Deadline confirmed that Rock has declined to file a police report against Smith. He has been up to 6 months to do so. So he should choose. If a report refiled, Smith being charged with assault, he could face up to 6 months behind bars with a fine of up to $100,000. Following the incident, the Academy issued a statement saying that it does not condone violence of any form. This is just so anyway, celebrities, we're gonna get to celebrity comments on this. Actually, I'll say this: we attack celebrities a lot on this on the show sometimes, but a lot of them seem to there almost seems to be a sobering up, at least on some things in regards to this. I did want to read some comments here.
Well, yeah, real quick, I did see Rosefire's
reader comment. Yeah,
Rosefire was saying, does anyone else remember what they were doing that night instead of watching the Oscars? I ate a poke bowl. Don't know what that is. Had fun. It's going by too fast. Too many people commenting too quickly.
What the heck? I'll read it.
Just highlight the comments.
Just give me a minute, honestly. Now I have to get back up there.
See, I told you. Everybody's excited about this.
What they were doing that night instead of watching the Oscars. I ate a poke bowl, had fun chatting with friends on the phone, and watched a British murder mystery.
Yeah. And then Auditor Dredd said, I was listening to Aged Boomer and Troy Pacelli while gaming. That's right. Like I said, we were actually talking about it as it was happening.
Rosefire.
And before we went into the show, I mentioned it.
Yeah, Rosefire. I would probably watch a British murder mystery too. I'm a big fan of those. I love Midsummer Murders. I'm currently watching Daglish, which is a reboot of an older BBC show, which is really good. So I do like the British murder mysteries because they take my mind off things. They were sort of escapism for me. So, but anyway, let's read some celebrity comments here, huh?
Yeah.
Conan O'Brien just saw the Will Smith slap. Anyone have a late night show I can borrow just for tomorrow?
Right?
Okay. Excuse me. Clay Travis. Where is Chris Rock? Is he still backstage? I was kind of hoping he would come out with a folding chair and hit Will Smith during the acceptance speech.
Making the reference to it being very much, like a wrestling match, which really says it used to be the big red carpet, hoity-toity, and it's become freaking WWE.
Yeah. Pretty much. Stephen A. Smith, total BS by Will Smith. If this night is ruined because of this, he deserves it. The man has Denzel and Bradley Cooper trying to calm him down for what? A joke about his wife and G.I. Jane? Come on. The shit was embarrassing. A very bad look. Love Will, but not after this BS.
I kind of said, sorry. I didn't realize you weren't done.
All right. Maria Shriver. Will Smith says he wants to be a vessel of love. Love is not violent. Love is not what was displayed on a global stage tonight. She continued. We should never get to a place where we sit and watch a movie star hit someone on global television, then moments later get a standing ovation while talking about love.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of people regretting
and I
doing
think that here's the other thing too. Well, so you got the two aspects to him defending his wife's honor, right? You defend your wife's honor over her hair, but you guys talk about open marriage and you're a freaking cuck, right? So we'll get to that in a minute.
I'll get to that in a minute. I'll be a little nicer to Will Smith.
But the other thing too is, what are you going to do? Go around and slap everybody on the internet that's now going to be talking about you and your wife, dumbass? By not letting this go, it goes from one joke by one person to everyone across the internet. Brilliant. Streisand much?
Yeah. Stephen L. Miller, if Chris Rock wanted to say something to Will Smith that wouldn't have made him angry, he should have offered to sleep with his wife. Okay,
yeah, exactly.
There you go. What do you know? Okay, Piers Morgan, if it was real, just seeing the uncensored footage, Will Smith hit Chris Rock for cracking a G.I. Jane joke about his wife, Jada Pinkett Smith, who suffers from alopecia, then twice screamed, "Keep my wife's name out of your effing mouth," at him. Ugliest moment in Oscar history. Might be. Yep. Dana White, finally, there's an Oscar show worth watching, and Chris Rock has a chin. Okay, Rob Reiner, Will Smith owes Chris Rock a huge apology. There is no excuse for what he did. He's lucky Chris is not filing assault charges. The excuses he made tonight were bullshit. Will Kane, of all the things going on in the relationship between Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith, we're going to believe this was the moment, a hair joke from Chris Rock, where Smith gets an old-fashioned and chivalrous right. Dan Abrams, if this happened as it seems, the authorities should open a criminal battery investigation. Mike Cernovich, Will Smith committed a violent crime, took no responsibility, and then blamed it on his feelings. Perfect encapsulation of our times.
Yep.
That's
probably the best comment. Yeah.
Did you have anything you want to say before I get into
Yeah, I did. So I noticed that a lot of them are saying, they should open a criminal battery investigation. Again, that's not the way the law works. If you don't have someone willing to press charges, there's nothing the police can do. There's nothing that the Academy can do, at least in that regard. Okay. The Academy can react as this event affects the Academy, but legal charges cannot be brought if Chris Rock is not willing to press charges. So that just ends it right there. However, I am going to say all of these comments by these otherwise, everything that I tweeted out the past week about this, in commenting about this, I hashtagged Ricky Gervais was right. And I think every one of these comments is celebrities acknowledging that.
He warned them.
This makes us all look bad. You think? It's too late now. You were warned by Ricky Gervais. Now you suffer the consequences. This kind of puts an end to the Oscars, unless something really radical happens. But that kind of does start bringing us back to the next article.
In the aftermath of Will Smith's charged encounter with Chris Rock at the 94th Academy Awards, comedians have rallied around the stand-up comic after he was slapped on stage by the Oscar King Richard Starr for telling his joke with Jada Pinkett Smith. Jada Pinkett Smith, Kathy Griffin, Joy Behar, and Lucas Brothers were among the comedy world stars who have defended Rock on Twitter. Now, comedian turned actor Jim Carrey has added his voice to the debate, condemning Smith's actions and the response of other Hollywood celebrities in the room in forceful terms during an interview with CBS Mornings host Gayle King. I was sickened, said the Sonic the Hedgehog 2 star, remarked during the interview, which was recorded on March 28th, but only recently made available online. I was sickened by the standing ovation. I felt like Hollywood is just spineless en masse. It really felt like, this is really a clear indication that we're not the cool club anymore. Carey also made it clear that he felt Smith should have faced more serious repercussions for striking Rock, including possible arrest. Academy sources told People that Smith's removal from the ceremony was definitely discussed seriously in the immediate aftermath of their encounter, while the Los Angeles Police Department confirmed that Rock declined to press charges.
Yeah.
He didn't want the hassle, Carey speculated, about why the comedian didn't pursue legal action. I would have announced this morning that I was suing Will for $200 million because that video is going to be there forever. It's going to be ubiquitous. That insult is going to last a very long time. Carey stressed that he doesn't have anything against Will Smith, but holds him responsible for seizing the Oscar night spotlight away from the winners. It casts a pall over everybody's shining moment last night, he remarked. A lot of people worked really hard to get to that place and to have their moment in the sun and to get their award for the really hard work they did. It's no mean feat to go through all of the stuff you have to go through when you're nominated for an Oscar, Carey continued. It's a gauntlet of devotion that you have to do. It's just a selfish moment that casts a pall over the whole thing.
And I want to speak to that specifically. He's right that from the point of view of, you know, all those people in Hollywood, that's exactly what it is. It's, hey, this is about me. I was up for a nomination. I was getting an award. Nobody's talking about me today. They're all talking about, you know, this, you know, the slapping, you know, and that's kind of how these people start to figure shit out. It's like, oh, okay, well, you know, now I get it. Now I understand. It's, you know, it's unfair to me, you know, and this was supposed to be my night. And literally, yeah, everybody who's feeling that way is looking at Will Smith and hating him right now. He has no friends in Hollywood right now.
Ambassador Rumor says Rock didn't say anything wrong. He told a joke, and I think a good one, not a side splitter, but a good joke. Here's what I think happened to her. I heard him say later on he didn't realize that she had alopecia.
I got that impression. Maybe
Eddie wouldn't have got that. Because obviously, if it's
because that was his response when he said it was a G.I. Jane joke. He thought he was making a joke about a choice about her hair,
her haircut. Right. Yeah, which I know.
Now,
you know, some people
take that back off of it and say, even if he knew, why? And I had tweeted this out. Why is it okay to make jokes about male pattern baldness, which people have been doing for generations, but not Jada Pinkett and her alopecia? Both are disorders that result in hair loss. Is it because she's a woman? Is it because she's black? Is it because she is a Hollywood celebrity? Whatever the reason, we need to be fair here.
Yeah. Disney falls now, Will Smith. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. You know what I'm wondering? Aladdin 2, is that happening still?
I didn't even know Aladdin 2 was a thing.
Oh, they were going to do a sequel to the live action Aladdin, and Will Smith.
Well, I think as we get into some of the later articles, I think we'll be able to deduce what's going to be happening there.
All right. So first, let's get back to Wanda.
But Jim Carrey, the big thing about that was the way the interview went. It was very clear that the interviewer wanted to defend or at least soften.
I wouldn't say defend, but she was probably trying to say, well, you know, it was a bad situation on both sides.
She specifically said it's too bad that it escalated to this. And Jim Carrey was having none of it. He said it didn't escalate. This was someone who has a serious problem, and he reacted in a way that you don't react in society, you know? And he was absolutely right. He was having none of it. It is not, there is no softening taking physical violence on someone making a joke. You don't do that. Yep. And I like the fact that he pushed back on that. You saw that the person that was interviewing just, okay. Yep. Nope. Yeah. Not even.
Well, to be fair, it's an uncomfortable. I'm not even going to pick on her because I mean, he was right, but sometimes when you're flustered and you don't have a full grasp of the situation,
she was not doing the unbiased, prompt somebody to talk about what they think about it and let it go. She was pushing an agenda as softly as it was, and Jim Carrey was going, "No, I am not going to agree with you." And good on him for that.
I like this comment about saying we're not the cool club anymore. He's right.
Yeah.
People are realizing
love him. You know, he did something in that interview that I don't see enough people do in interviews. He was very present. He listened to what was being said to him and he reacted to it in an appropriate way. And he didn't let someone else push him in a direction that he didn't want to go or put words in his mouth. He said, no, I don't agree with you. This is what I think. And I see too many people. Yeah, I guess you're right. Da, 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 da. Well, now it's not an interview. Now it's a stage show. That was an interview, and good on Jim Carrey. There's a lot of things I haven't agreed with Jim Carrey on over the years. I think maybe he's starting to grow up a little bit.
I'm hoping some of them, a lot more, will be grow up. Actually, speaking of which, we have Wanda Sykes here.
Well, Oscar and she has some growing up to do too. I agree with I agree with her. Which side she stands on this, I don't agree with her making it about herself.
Right. Well, let's read it. Okay.
I was traumatized.
Oscar's co-host Wanda Sykes said she is still traumatized by Will Smith slapping Chris Rock on stage and is disappointed by how the show handled the incident as well as the industry's reaction to the audience. I just felt so awful for my friend Chris, and it was sickening, absolutely sickening. Sykes tells Ellen DeGeneres in a clip from her visit to the Ellen DeGeneres show, which will air in full on Thursday. I physically felt ill, and I'm still a little traumatized by it. She continues a sentiment that DeGeneres says she agrees with, and for them to let him stay in the room and enjoy the rest of the show and accept this award, I was like, how gross is this? This is just the wrong message. She added of Smith, you assault somebody, you get escorted out of the building, and that's it. For them to let him continue, I thought was gross. Sykes, who co-hosted Sunday's show with Amy Schumer and Regina Hall. Schumer also come out to say she is still triggered and traumatized by the incident. Explaining to...
Right there. Triggered, traumatized.
Well, that was
not
was
about
Schumer.
you, dumb people.
That was Schumer.
I know.
Okay.
I get that. But it's the same sentiment from both of them.
Yeah.
It's about them and their feelings. Okay. And you could have said that in a way that supported your main point. Disappointed that he wasn't escorted out. Disappointed in the way the Academy dealt with it, and it was wrong. I agree with you 100%. You start talking about being triggered and traumatized, screw you and get over it. You're not the one that got punched in the face, dumbass.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that's basically her 2 cents. You can read the rest of it on your own.
I dig it.
Late, but let me go to more stuff about Will Smith.
Yeah.
We're getting on.
So now we're on. That was the 30th. What was that? Wednesday. I think we're getting a Thursday with the. I didn't put a date on this. I should have.
Yeah, it's later.
Yeah. Revelations of Will Smith's call with Oscar boss outrages board and more. Yeah. So then we start after the show. Now we're dealing with the fallout of Will Smith talking to the Oscar bosses.
Oh, good night, Rosefire.
Oh, yeah. Take care.
Yeah. So he's having fallout from this.
Yep.
And of course, I don't agree with what he did on Sunday night. That's assault.
Right.
You get arrested for that, usually. Okay, so here we go. A previously undisclosed short virtual meeting between Will Smith and Academy Motion Picture Arts and Sciences President David Rubin and CEO Dawn Hudson on March 29th could be causing a new crisis to hit the Oscar organization. The 6-minute Zoom call initiated by King Richard star to Rubin and Hudson mainly saw Smith apologize yet again for slapping Chris Rock during Sunday's telecast on live TV. The new shockwave is hitting hard because those in the Academy's Board of Governors meeting yesterday beginning disciplinary procedures against Smith weren't in the know. Why would they keep this from us, explained one insider who participated in Wednesday's board meeting. It only contributes to an atmosphere of suspicion and lack of leadership. With seemingly contradictory information now swirling about how Smith was allegedly asked and refused to exit Dolby Theater after striking Rock, the efforts by the nearly 50-member Board of Governors to find an appropriate solution to the situation by next April 18th scheduled meeting could be fracturing based on news of Rubin and Hudson's March 29th viral meeting with Smith. The King Richard Best Actor Oscar winner has at least 15 days of notice as of yesterday before the vote regarding his violations and sanctions to be heard beforehand by means of a written response. What else don't we know about what's happening or what happened on Sunday, stated another well-positioned Academy member of the interaction between Smith, Rubin, and Hudson. What else don't we know about what's happening? What happened on Sunday stated another opposition. Okay, I already read that. Yesterday, the Board of Governors convened and agreed the majority to investigate the Smith altercation. Next board meeting on April 18th will decide what disciplinary action could occur. Okay, so this may include a suspension, expulsion, other sanctions. How did I read that? I'm repeating myself. I'm stuck in a hysteric loop. That from Doctor Who.
So basically, what you had was there is some debate, and we don't have a clear story. Was he asked to leave and refused, or was he not? And the Academy members are going, this is information we need, and they're talking about disciplinary action. That's what it basically comes down to. And he's apologized, and he said, "No, I'll accept whatever the Academy." Well, you don't really have a choice in the matter. Congratulations.
Okay. So anyway, they were. Oh, go ahead.
No. I thought you wanted to go on to.
Well, I'll read the end of the article. Yeah. They were saying this is battery. That was the word used at the moment. Pachter told GMA's TJ Holmes. They said, "We will go get him. We are prepared. We will get him right now. You can press charges. We can arrest him." So they were saying to Rock. They were laying out the options. Okay, these are the police to Chris. And as they were talking to Chris, he was being very dismissive of those options. He was like, "No, I'm fine." He was like, "No." And even to the point where he said, "Rock, let them finish." The LAPD officers finished laying out what the options were, and they said, "Would you like to take any action?" He said no.
Yeah. He took the high road. He doesn't want to deal with it, and that's fine. But that doesn't prevent the Oscars, the Academy from continuing with their own disciplinary action, which of course leads us then to Friday. Wow.
Will Smith
resigns from Academy after inexcusable actions at Oscars.
Now, I wanted to make a point. Hello, Mr. Matchstick. That it almost seemed like we were getting two stories. Like they're saying, Will Smith was refusing to leave, and then other people were saying the security didn't do anything. So I don't know what's going to come out with that. Do you have any input on that?
I don't. This is exactly what I was saying. This is and it sounds like the board of the Academy doesn't know either, and they're still trying to work that out. But they're
wondering why he wasn't escorted out. Is that?
I think that has more to do with the leadership of the Academy on that night than anything else. That's something the Academy is going to have to deal with. As far as how this impacts what they do with Will Smith, I think it's irrelevant. I think they are going to move forward with whatever disciplinary action they decide. Going forward. And I think this next article doesn't impact that either.
In the wake of slapping Chris Rock on stage at the Oscars, Will Smith said Friday that he's resigning from the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. In a statement obtained by The Hollywood Reporter, Smith said he was heartbroken and would accept all consequences for his conduct during Sunday's ceremony. "My action at the 94th Academy Award presentation were shocking, painful, and inexcusable. The list of those I have hurt is long and includes Chris, his family, many of my dear friends and loved ones, all those in attendance, and global audiences at home," Smith said. "I betrayed the trust of the Academy. I deprived other nominees and winners of their opportunity to celebrate and be celebrated for their extraordinary work. I am heartbroken. I want to put the focus back on those who deserve attention for their achievements and allow the Academy to get back to the incredible work it does to support creativity and artistry in film. Smith's resignation means he can no longer vote for Oscars, but he can still be nominated for Academy Awards, attend future ceremonies, and keep the statue he won. So the Academy's formal review will continue. We have received and accepted Will Smith's immediate resignation from the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences," Academy President David Rubin said in a statement. "We will continue to move forward with our disciplinary proceedings against Mr. Smith for violations of the Academy standards of conduct in advance of our next scheduled board meeting on April 18th. The actor said in his statement Friday that he has responded to the Academy's disciplinary hearing notice and will fully accept any and all consequences for his conduct. Yeah, so this is on April 2nd. So this is spiraling. We'll see.
It's very important to understand. The Academy's stance is we accept his resignation. That's not the end of this, is basically what they're saying.
And you'll notice that I put in as the headline, not the slap, but Will Smith's career probably in jeopardy. I think I made a point about that because I think it is in jeopardy. And I think this is having some very nasty repercussions. And Netflix backs away from Will Smith film Fast and Loose.
So now we're starting to see the really real ramifications, right? Regardless of what the Academy does, he's losing work.
This week before Oscar ceremony, director David Leitch, in a stroke of unintentional good timing, withdrew as director of a planned Netflix movie, Fast and Loose, starring Will Smith. Instead, he moved on to Fall Guy, starring Ryan Gosling for Universal, which is supposed to start production in August. Okay, so I guess the director's jumped ship. A source says Netflix was competing with Universal to be the next project for Leach, but Universal pulled ahead. According to sources, Netflix put out an urgent call for another director to take over the project featuring the star who was heavily favored to win Best Actor at the Oscars. But soon after Smith's attack on Chris Rock on the Netflix quietly moved the project back. So they lost the director they wanted, and now that was before the Oscars, and now they're like, well, forget it with Will Smith in this story. We'll just put that on hold.
Yeah.
Good call on the director who was set to direct this, actually. I guess he made the right decision.
Yeah.
Fast and Loose was to tell the story of a crime boss who loses memory after an attack. Piecing the other clues, he discovers that he has led a double identity as a wealthy kingpin and a broke CIA agent. It appears that Netflix was understandably wary of moving forward. It is unclear whether it will try to make the project with another star and director. That sounds kind of interesting, actually.
Yeah.
Okay. Smith now has Apple Plus's slave epic drama Emancipation in post-production. Well, Apple Plus doesn't care. The streamer had planned a 2020 debut, but has not stated its release. Apple declined to comment, so that basically means they don't know what they're doing about it yet.
Yeah, they may or may not even put that out. We'll see if that even happens.
Apple can do whatever they want. They don't make their money from their streaming.
So yesterday, Fast and Loose, not happening. It's not going forward. Then today,
otherwise, Bad Boys 4 Sony has been active development. Smith received 40 pages of the script prior to the Oscars, but will now pause. A source says a few other projects. Okay, let's move on. Note: Will Smith's Bad Boys 4 put on hold after Oscar meltdown. This you sent me today. So that's
today.
This is a disaster. His career is going down the toilet as we speak.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna have some comments to say about Will Smith in a minute here. Because I haven't really chimed in too much on what I think of the situation myself, but I have my own thoughts, and I'm gonna point it out there. Will Smith's Bad Boys 4 put on hold after the Oscars meltdown. Is there any immediate effect on his projects? Well, here's one tidbit we've learned about this week. Bad Boys 4 had been in active development, and Smith received 40 pages of the script before Oscars incident, according to our source. Now there will be a pause in work as things play out, we've been told. After Bad Boys for Life's surprise success, $427 million worldwide gross, Sony was pretty sure it had a franchise on its hands, something it could morph into its own Fast and Furious universe. The unexpected success of Bad Boys 3 was also good news for Smith, whose days as a box office powerhouse had waned considerably. Yeah. He was also the rare marquee star without a major franchise to keep him among the A-list. Yep, everything was going Will Smith's way. Big franchise, a Best Actor Oscar win, a prestige picture about slavery, about the stream on Apple, growing success as a producer. Cobra Kai, interesting. He was a producer on that. Sunday should have been the capper, the triumph of Will Smith's 30-year career, but instead he chose to disgrace himself in a way no major star has ever disgraced himself. On live television, Will Smith, yes, we know about this. And now it's coming apart. Will Smith has been forced to resign from the Motion Picture Academy. Well, I don't know if he's been forced. He resigned himself. He might have been forced, but he decided to take the initiative. Okay, so Netflix is putting Will Smith's projects in turnaround. Sony is thinking twice about spending $350 million to produce and promote Will Smith franchise movie. And why wouldn't they? How do you promote a $300 million movie starring a guy who assaulted a man at the Oscars without all the promotion being about your star assaulting a guy at the Oscars? The only way Will Smith climbs out of this is if the American people believe he has taken his medicine, has suffered enough, and deserves a second chance. The public must also believe Smith is truly repentant over his result and not just saying so. If I were Will Smith, I would be praying for the Academy to expel me permanently. I'd also be making private amends to Chris Rock, his family, and everyone else whose big night was ruined by the slap, and then I would hope news of the private outreach leaked to the media.
But the reality is, I think there's no coming back from that. You can't, I did this thing and I'm sorry and I'm getting all this. I think too many people are going to look at this and go, good. Anything that happens to you, you deserve. You're not being charged criminally.
Okay.
So you will never receive anything to merit,
Here's what I think, and I'm going to say this. I do believe he is actually truly sorry about what he did.
Oh, damn right he is, as he loses his career and he sees the
maybe that's part of it. That could be part of it. If he survives this, I have to say this. You're in a bad marriage. You need to get out of it now.
Yep.
I'm sorry. Everyone knows you're in a bad marriage. You've been in denial. I know yeah.
I saw one comment about this on social media. Someone said, I like Will Smith and I want to feel bad for him because of the situation he's in with this marriage. And I'm like, look, I hear ya, but the fact is you make your decisions in life and you have to deal with them. Even if it's a bad marriage, you chose that woman. You have chosen to stay with her. You now have chosen this action because of this woman. Sorry, you've made your bed. Now lie in it.
Yes. But the point is, we typically hear about women who are in abusive relationships. This is a man who's in an abusive relationship. Yep. This is what I believe, based on everything I've heard going on, based on basically Jada Pinkett Smith's public declarations of what she does. That is humiliating your husband in public. That's not even just you doing the bad deeds, even with his knowledge. You're humiliating him in public. Your kids are grown. You are worth $350 million. Get the divorce, cut it in half. I don't care. Now, I don't know what's going to happen now because of this.
Now, you'll notice that nobody in Hollywood is commenting on that aspect of it. But, okay, so first, you don't have people in Hollywood talking about Jada Pinkett cheating on her husband and the open marriage and the whole thing because they all know they're doing it without talking about it. So they certainly don't want to comment on that.
Well, I don't know what they are. That's them being discreet. I don't agree with that. But there's a difference between being discreet about.
You're right. That's what I was getting to. That's the other side of it. In private, they're going, what the hell is wrong with you people? Keep your stuff private like the rest of us.
Yeah. So
you dumbasses. Everybody's saying that. But this is
he did.
And look, I think and I'm sorry if you think I'm going too far with this, just tell me, because it is your channel. But I gotta say, good thing that this was two black guys. And there wasn't, multiple races involved here, or this would be a whole different conversation. But at the same time, what does this say about, because I've seen the, in quotes, black on black jokes. And let me tell you something. That's some ghetto ass shit. This really does make the black community look bad and play to all the stereotypes.
I don't know. I mean, Will Smith, he was a major Hollywood star. He is everything.
That makes it all the worse. It's like, you couldn't pull the ghetto out of the kid, could you?
I don't know. That might be.
And then you look at his kids on social media where his twink son tweets out, "That's how we do it." Well, that's how you destroy your career too, kid. Watch it.
Here's the thing about Will Smith, and I want to make a point. I mean, I never saw him as overtly political. Yeah, he'd probably toe the line that Hollywood wanted him to toe, but he was mainly about career and just being Mr. 4th of July, as he used to be called, big blockbuster guy.
Yeah.
So it's because I'm just seeing this as, I don't know what his upbringing was, how he grew up. I know that since then he's been a major star and he's Hollywood royalty. Him and Jada were basically Hollywood royalty. Yeah. And, for this to have transpired, now that's all going to decay.
It's a huge marring of what it means to be a celebrity. This takes everything Ricky Gervais says and cranks it up to 11. He said it. This proved it.
I mean, I always had good things to say about Will Smith. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I always thought. I mean, I'm not saying I liked every movie. The one about the clones, I didn't want to see that. But
well, and that was just it. His career was really waning, and he was kind of on a comeback tour here. And that he just shot
they
himself in
mentioned
the foot.
franchises. He was in Bad Boys for Life that did really well. He was in the Aladdin. I'm sorry if you think the success of Aladdin had nothing to do with Will Smith. No, he was the draw of that movie. Now, granted,
I would argue it was the only good thing about the show.
Probably because I didn't
because nobody wanted that remake.
But it was a big hit, and I attribute that to the fact that Will Smith was in it. He is a major movie star, and that's just the thing. We've had major movie stars for years, and
but you're right.
Men in Hollywood.
I can almost guarantee
you could be a leading man of any. Go ahead.
I had not heard anything about an Aladdin 2, but I can guarantee you that it's not happening now.
No,
Disney has their own problems. They don't want to deal with this shit. And when they're in the boardroom deciding, okay, are we going to sign off on another Star Wars project, another Marvel thing? We still got to decide, if we're doing anything else with Lightyear. Should we do this Aladdin 2? Fuck that. We're not doing anything with that. We can't. That's not even an option.
I will say this: could you imagine if it had been like a white comedian on stage and he had done it? Would I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. It would have been a very different debate.
I just don't know.
And if if it would have been a white actor that had done it to a black person, oh, you better believe.
Well, the security would have been on them in no time.
Absolutely, things would have been.
I don't know why
this is what I'm saying. Different standards for different people.
Maybe we'll see. We're speculating. I don't know. We can't know. I don't know why he wasn't escorted out. Like I said, they're investigating it right now. This is a disaster.
Auditor Dread says, I feel bad for the kids. I'm going to stop you right there. I don't. They're effed up, and they're old enough now to start getting their heads on straight, and they don't. Yeah, they're talentless hacks. They're spoiled rotten, and this is the family Will Smith has made for himself.
Well, to be fair, I can't speak for all his kids in that regard. I know the one you're talking about, but I don't know about the other two.
If anything, here's the one good here. Let's end this on a potential positive. Okay. If Will Smith is genuine about being about family, right? And love and leadership and so on and so forth, he needs to get his house in order with this. And he needs to look at his family and go, my career is over because of what I did. Kids, this is not how we do it. I've thrown everything out because I made a bad decision. That was not a good decision. And if I'm going to stand up for my family, Jada, you need to stand up for the family too. If you're not going to be faithful, we're going to end this thing. We're going to unite or we're going to separate.
Yeah.
None of this half-ass shit.
I don't know. I'm actually a little worried, depending on how things go over the first few months, about maybe Will Smith might try doing something to himself, and I don't want to see that happen either.
He clearly has some mental issues. You don't attack somebody if you don't. But I'll tell you this.
He's in a bad situation.
I'm offering how this could end up being a positive. If he mans up, like we were talking about with The Godfather, be a man. If he is a man, he can make this a positive for his family. He may not be able to save his career. It may be beyond his saving, but he can save his family situation or get himself into a better one. He can help those kids. If he doesn't, it's just going to get worse and worse. He's going to be in a downward spiral.
Okay. Well, that's it. We'll see what happens. Agreed, Troy Pacelli. I meant they were kids, impressionable. Now they reap what they sow. Yeah. I mean,
I guess you could say that about anybody, we always say kids are a reflection of their parents. So if there's anything you don't like about the kids, look at the parents, and you can always feel bad about them. But there does come a point where you got to say, I'm sorry. I don't care that you got, treated badly as a kid. And that's why you point to why you do what you do. Too bad. You're now an adult. You should be able to take those things and start making adult decisions and going, yeah, no, this isn't right.
I want to make a point, though. I do think that Chris Rock, I've had my differences in the past. I think he conducted himself as best he could in this situation. So,
oh yeah, he has definitely taken the high road.
He didn't take the bait and try and get into a fight or anything like that. So,
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're not going to spend too much time on these, obviously, but Halo TV show reviews are in, and the critics are comparing the series to The Mandalorian, but not in a good way. Oh, Halo show reviews are in, and they're comparing the new sci-fi series to The Mandalorian, but not at all favorably. Here, I'll read some of the reviews. Hollywood Reporter Dan Feinberg. Do we like Halo in the chat? Any Halo fans? Because I heard a lot of the Halo fans are very upset with this new TV show. Because of course.
Yeah, and you know me on gaming. I'm like,
they're angry because they're screwing around with the lore.
Yeah.
They make a point that the bad aliens in this want to exterminate the human race because it's a religious thing for them. The human race's existence, I think, is an affront to their religion. On the show, you have one of these aliens kowtowing to a human, which people were saying flies in the face of all the lore and makes no sense.
Yeah.
And it makes the point that what do we say about creators of these shows not understanding the lore of things anyway?
Well, and I've heard it about some other topics. It's you spend so many millions of dollars on these to develop these things based on multi-million dollar, games or movies or books or whatever it is, and then completely fundamentally ignore the things that made them popular. That is the stupidest thing you could possibly do.
So, Hollywood Reporter creators Kyle Killen and Stephen Crane have adapted Halo in a way that basically renders it with the emphasis on basic, a clone of The Mandalorian or Sweet Tooth or The Road of Lone Wolf and Cub, boasting no technological innovation to speak of, few performances to offer meaningful grounding, and only limited action thrills. Halo is aggressively forgettable, which is at least several steps up from bad. Variety. In this TV show, Schreiber gets significantly more to work with, especially as the character begins to question his total commitment to taking orders and links up with Quan to create an unlikely pair of uneasy compatriots. And yes, in these moments, it's nearly impossible not to compare Halo to The Mandalorian. Schreiber is decent in the early outings of Master Chief Identity Crisis, though nowhere near as immediate, charismatic, or deftly written as, say, Pedro Pascal's Rise Star Wars Warrior. With more solid characterization to grasp onto, it's Ha who steals the show. She embodies Quan's defiance and visceral pain once everything. Yeah, they gave him a young female companion in this. And people got upset because Master Chief took off his mask, which he doesn't do in the games. And they said, even if they were going to have him do it, don't do it in the first episode.
Right. I went ahead and dropped the next one because I have the wrong article listed.
Yeah, that's fine. I noticed it, but I fixed it. But you can go and drop it. That's fine.
I already dropped it because
I noticed your mistake.
I screwed up. I admit when I make a mistake, and I take responsibility right off. I don't go and slap Agent Boomer over it or something.
I want to read the last review, though, in verse, Eric Francisco. It's The Mandalorian, it's The Last of Us, it's Logan and Leon the Professional in space. It's a story trope that's trendy in either, but neither wears out as long as the stories are exciting, fresh, and smart. Halo doesn't excel at all of those qualities. Nauseating CG aliens dull the show's action. It's a bad sign when the game's live-action trailers from over a decade ago feel more visceral than the actual series. None of its ongoing pilot threads seem to think beyond the heartstrings. The show's many mysteries remain locked behind Abrams-esque mystery boxes, which feel like an obligation in the streaming era than a purposeful creative choice. Yes, mystery boxes and Whedon speak. It's funny how like Joss Whedon is like on the outs, but we still get Whedon speak in shows. It's like, we get rid of the Whedon speak already. I'm done. Go away. Okay, Halo. But it did very well. It did very well.
Yeah.
It did very well. Oh, what did they say? Oh, people are upset about Cortana. Cortana, the AI hologram partner to Master Chief, looks like a very bad cosplay. Well, it's where we are now. We can't have nice things. I don't play the Halo games, by the way. I'm not a Halo expert. I didn't have an Xbox during that generation. I had a Nintendo GameCube. That was the big console war of the early aughts. But Halo break records at Paramount Plus, becoming most watched original series within 24 hours because someone said, "Oh, thank goodness, something other than Star Trek is on here." Okay. Paramount Plus maybe have a major 26th century hit on their hands. The streamer has unveiled that Halo has become their biggest hit for an original series in the first 24 hours since its release. It's unclear what the exact viewership numbers were. That just means it's good for them.
Now, I was just going to say it's not a very high bar. If this is their most successful show, that says nothing.
Yet, nor how the studio measures this rate, though it's a clear winner for them nonetheless. It's been a long road for Halo to hit television screens. This was announced ages ago, this Halo television series, with talents like Steven Spielberg and Rupert Wyatt attached at various points dating back to 2013. The series became a major franchise for the fledgling Paramount Plus, which has undoubtedly aimed to make a name for itself in the so-called streaming wars. Thus, the imminent success of Halo, which has only premiered in its first episode, is a significant win for the streamer. Paramount Plus's chief programming officer, Tanya Gill, has said the following about Halo's success thus far. Bringing Halo to life as a streaming series has been one of the most rewarding efforts at Paramount Plus to date. We could not be more thrilled at the massive fan response to the series debuted, along with our phenomenal partners at Showtime, 343 Industries, and Amblin Entertainment. We cannot wait for fans to experience more of this incredible universe. Fans are not happy about this. The ones I've heard online, they are not happy, and I think the writers of the show said that they never actually looked at the games. So,
that is always a bad sign. If you've spent, millions of dollars to acquire the rights to do, something based on millions of dollars worth of lore, you might want to do your damn homework.
I do like the Halo Legends anime anthology and Forward Until Dawn, but I don't care about the series. Not upset about it, just not invested. We'll see how many people. Yeah. Like I said, this is doing well for Paramount Plus. Paramount Plus has nothing. They have nothing. I'm sorry. They have their network shows, which you can watch without commercials, including a rather not.
Yeah, Auditor sums up the lore pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, what is it?
I assume I don't know this.
The story of Halo is basically a united alien group called the Covenant wages war on the human forces. The human military, UNSC, creates the super soldiers known as Spartans, which Master Chief is of. Yes. Well, that makes sense. There may be more.
I mean, it's a great idea, basically. The idea of some sort of a space age Marine Corps fighting against an alien invasion. I mean, it's
but I think what it is
that works well
is that these aliens are different than aliens we've typically seen in sci-fi series because it's more about a religious type thing for them than anything else. I think that was the impression I got from it. But
personally, I would like to see
one of the humans.
A movie or mini series or something based on Resistance: Fall of Man, but that's just me.
Okay, human ship stumbles upon a Halo, a super weapon capable of wiping out all life, which the human and Covenant fight over it. Okay, interesting. That sounds like an interesting idea. I don't know if they borrowed that for the show. I don't think they did, but we'll see. All right, have a good night, Ambassador William. We're going to be wrapping up soon, too.
Yep.
But first, I want to talk about E3, digital and physical canceled. No! After previously canceled its in-person E3 2022 event, the ESA has now informed its partners there will be no digital event equivalent this year, meaning E3 22 has officially been canceled. The news broke out via tweet from Razer PR leader Will Powers, who said in an email that has been sent out announcing the cancellation of the digital E3 event. IGN has independently verified the content of the email as well. But apparently they're going to regroup for a larger comeback in 2023. So apparently E3 will return in 2023. Do you know what E3 is, Troy?
Yeah.
Okay, it's the Electronics Entertainment Expo. Used to be where Sony, Microsoft,
it's a game convention basically,
and all the other companies would showcase all of the new games coming out. And then slowly people have slipped away. Nintendo started doing digital only events. Sony, I think, didn't even show up last year, leaving it to Microsoft and a few other companies. So and I guess the whole pandemic thing. But yeah, I don't know. E3, I used to get as excited for E3 as Christmas because I would get to see all the new games coming out. But we'll see.
Yeah.
I think Nintendo will still have their Nintendo Direct in the spring though, so I'll have that to look forward to. Nintendo, good company. They're going to be opening up Super Nintendo Land at Universal in 2023. So
good, something for people to see,
something for families.
Yeah,
something for families. Yeah, I'm telling you, you want to make your kids happy, and you get rid of the Disney, buying them a Nintendo Switch. Nintendo games are Nintendo games are very friendly, family friendly. They go from ages E to teen usually. They don't even usually. You can get M-rated games on the platform. Nintendo just doesn't make them. They tend to focus more on stuff that can be enjoyed by everybody. But all right, Flash star Ezra Miller arrested for disorderly conduct and harassment in Hawaii. Stop.
You want to fight?
It's ridiculous. Ezra Miller, who stars in the upcoming DC film The Flash and April's Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore, was arrested by law enforcement in Hilo, Hawaii on Monday morning. Miller was charged for disorderly conduct and harassment after the incident at a bar. According to a post by the Hawaii County Police Department, South Hilo officers front report of disorderly bar patron on Sunday evening, 11:30 p.m. Police determined that the agitator had become unruly while other patrons sang karaoke and begun yelling obscenities. Miller then grabbed the microphone from a 23-year-old woman singing karaoke and later lunged at a 32-year-old man playing darts. What are you doing?
I know, and I'll tell you, it's bad enough that he's doing this crap, especially after the previous, video went viral.
2 movies coming out.
But this is the worst week for this news to come out because people are going to look at this and go, yeah, no, you are no Will Smith, Ezra Miller. Get the out.
I didn't understand why Ezra escaped the last bout of nonsense. What's his age? I want to see the conversations his agent is having with him.
Yeah.
About, hey, when I told you to stop like choking people and attacking people in public, and we managed to get that smoothed over so you could be the Flash and be the villain in the Dumbledore movies and the Harry Potter movies, what the fantastic, whatever they're called.
Yeah.
Fantastic Beast movies without Mr. Pirate Guy in it anymore because we wanted to get rid of him but not get rid of somebody else, which
there's that aspect to it too, right? Between Aqua Wife and the whole dust up with Pirate Guy, now this and Will Smith and all of these other things, I think you're going to start seeing a lot more movie companies, studios go back to the whole, you know what? You represent us. And if you want a job with us, get your shit in order. Otherwise, we won't work with you anymore. We can't afford this shit anymore.
Why can't people act professionally out there?
Because they've been allowed to get away with it. These celebrities have been given the impression for too long that they're above the law, that they can do whatever they want. They're better than everyone else. And they're starting to see that's not the case.
This is what I'll at least say about even the gentleman we were talking about a little while, Will Smith. I mean, up until that Oscar night, I would say he acted fairly professional, at least in regards to movies and his career. Yeah. And that's
he just did it all at once.
Yeah, like he decided to say, he had it all pent up and he let it all out at the Oscars. Yeah, it's I wonder which of the 3 actors of WB regrets hiring most. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know who's running things over at Warner Brothers. See, a lot of people like to attack Disney, but since I was never huge on Disney to begin with, I was always, even growing up, more of a Warner Brothers fan as a studio, and they don't know what they're doing. I hate the fact that they own all these DC superheroes, but it's clear for me they don't really like making these superhero movies because you can just tell with how they've been made and just how the whole thing is just felt slapped together. Just because they want to chase the Marvel money. That's what they're thinking. It's not because they really love the Superman, I can tell you that.
And one other thing that I will reiterate that we've mentioned before, keep in mind too, there's also contracts they have to deal with. It's not that easy to just fire somebody. Now, Disney used to have morality clauses in their contracts, right? You do anything that embarrasses yourself, and
they need to bring
by
those
extension,
back.
we will drop you. You're going to start seeing those start coming back because this cannot continue. Things are on a knife's edge for these companies as it is.
I will say this, even though whatever I think of a lot of even the Marvel actors, I don't see them doing this stuff in public. I mean, at least not. Can you think of anything?
No.
I mean, even Brie Larson, I've had issues. She'll make her dumb comments, but she's not getting drunk and attacking people. I mean,
right.
Ezra Miller threatened a man who had darts in his hands, then broke into a house and threatened to kill the occupants. Did that happen?
Yeah, apparently so.
Oh, no. Oh.
I mean, I think back to back in the days, John Belushi, he got drunk, ended up at someone's house, and woke up on some complete stranger's house, woke up on their couch. And the interview went, John Belushi showed up on my porch. He was drunk. I gave him a place to sleep.
Oh. Is it confirmed that they'll drop Ezra after his contractual obligations? I don't know why they didn't drop him the last time. I was surprised they kept him on. After that,
I would be surprised if it has been confirmed, because I don't think Warner Brothers is going to comment on that.
What can they do though? They need these movies to do well though. So how are they going to advertise the Flashpoint movie with Ezra Miller as the Flash? If they
that's probably the exact conversation they're having in a boardroom somewhere right now.
Another thing too, you guys got to start getting these movies out, or at least stop teasing them early in case you need to go reshoot stuff. This is just, I mean, how long is it? I don't want to think about.
Well, that's the problem, right? I mean, they get this stuff ready to go, and then Aqua Wife and Flash do this stupid shit, and they're like, "Oh crap, what do we do? Do we throw more money into this to recast them, or do we do reshots, or do we, just ignore it, or mothball this whole thing? How far into this are we?" There's no good answers for them.
Discovery, are they due to take over Warner Brothers, or at least I know they're due to take over HBO Max? Someone over there needs to start flexing some muscle.
You better believe there's someone over at Disney going, "Look at this company we just acquired. What the hell's going on?"
You mean Discovery?
That's what I meant. Discovery.
Don't meant Disney. I don't want Disney acquiring Warner Brothers next. I'm telling you, I want these companies to be reformed and just to become normal again. Because if they don't become normal again, that's it. I don't necessarily want Hollywood to collapse, because I know if it does collapse, I don't think anything will replace it. At least not in this country. Maybe. Who knows? Maybe India will step up with Bollywood. We'll be getting Bollywood.
Well, I'm seeing more and more studios are starting to look to the UK. They're starting to. I think UK is the future.
UK used to have a vibrant movie industry. I'm a big fan of Hammer movies, James Bond movies from back in the day. Maybe the UK needs to. They'll step up. And other countries, obviously, Japan does stuff with animation now, and South Korea with their dramas. And
I was just going to say, Korea's been doing a good job too.
And I want Hollywood to get a little scared, maybe, and fix itself. And also, maybe more indie directors over here. And we are seeing people.
Honestly, I think every article that we talked about tonight just demonstrates that Hollywood is at the tipping point. And I think most people in Hollywood, look at all the reactions they're having to Will Smith. They know it. They know it.
This leaves Universal standing kind of tall right now compared to everybody else, I think. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. Because they don't release movies.
I was just going to say, what do they have going for them?
They have the Fast and the Furious series. That's their big cash.
Well, as long as they don't screw that up, they should be okay.
We'll see. my whatever thoughts I have about John Cena. He was good in that last Fast and the Furious movie. I just didn't like his comments outside of the thing. Anyway, okay, okay. I guess the prior incident has an NDA settlement with the woman he choked out. Oh yeah, no, I actually hope she's doing all right. That actually looks scary, and I'm like, no, don't attack people. Don't attack people. Don't punch them. Don't choke them. Maybe that's what we're learning from tonight.
Yeah.
If you're a star, you're not above the law. I can't.
Well, I'll tell you something else. He's got his whole non-binary thing going on. Nobody gives a crap about that. When you're choking somebody. Okay, you are not winning any points for the LGBT community by acting a fool. You're just not.
Yeah, Universal has Jurassic World Dominion this summer. Yeah, with Daniela Pineda. I'm sorry, she'll be in it. I'm sure it's not a huge part. Hopefully,
right.
I do like the Jurassic World picks. I even like the second one. I know some people didn't, but I got a kick out of it. Except for the fact that the young girl should have had raptor blood in her, and her eyes should have gotten all red, and like her tongue lashes out and kills people. They didn't go there.
Yeah,
she was just a clone. But they should have made a raptor girl. What do you think? Anyway, that's it for tonight. What do you got going on this week? You got surgery on Tuesday.
Yeah,
everybody keep the Pacellis in your thoughts and prayers. Especially as Troy, he's I don't know. You're going to go under for a little bit, aren't you?
Netter's worried about me, so definitely pray for her strength. But yeah, I'm okay with it. Get this thing done and whatnot. But so don't know what the next days after that are going to be. Tuesday, Wednesday are kind of up in the air. I've been non-committal even at work. I have to see how things go. But
you're going in for surgery. Take the time you need. What did the doctor say? Well, it's not our business.
That's kind of what the doctor said. He's like, yeah, we'll be sending you home at the end of the day. It's outpatient. Whether you feel like going back to work the next day is up to you.
Take the time that you need to recover. Okay, even if you can't even if you can't make it till Friday or Sunday, okay, it's okay. We'll figure.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. If I'm still not doing well Thursday, Friday, there's going to be a bigger problem. That probably means I'm going back to the hospital. But
all right.
Yeah, as things stand now, I'm
just saying I had an organ removed and I needed to take it easy for a couple of weeks. Go for slow walks.
I understand that, but excuse me, I'm currently planning my regular show on Friday. I have no idea what it's going to be about. Hopefully it won't be about gallbladder surgery, but we'll see.
Something that's like very stressful will get you upset. I think that's what we should do Friday. I'm kidding.
Well, we'll see how I'm feeling. That's the question I got to ask the doctor after recovery. So how soon can I start drinking alcohol again? I got to know by Friday.
Oh, no. You should have a Shirley Temple on Friday if you stream.
Actually, it's funny you say that. I bought myself the ingredients to make the homemade version of the Ecto Cooler. So one of these days,
that'd be pretty sweet.
Maybe I'll do a Ghostbusters themed show sometime real soon, and
do some rewatching of real Ghostbusters episodes or something.
I did buy that collection that's like the most complete that's available right now. So
interesting.
Might be fun to do.
So watch Velocipaster, Agent Boomer. It has your raptor needs.
I was thinking of that. Yeah, I heard about that.
I need to watch. That strikes me as an Al movie.
Yes, I think so.
Al needs to watch Velocipaster.
I think he already has. I think he's the one that mentioned it.
Okay, all right. But Wednesday I have Bullet rewatch with Birdman. We're doing the rewatch Bullet. Steve McQueen, the great Steve McQueen, is in that. Also, the guy from the man from Uncle, the actor who played him, he's in it. I can think of his name.
What's his name? The one that played Elia Koryakin or the other guy?
Robert Vaughn, is that right?
Robert Vaughn. Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Yeah, he's in it. Yes. He was also on an episode of Kung Fu: The Legend Continues. There was an episode where Kwai Chang Caine was trying to get together 7 guys to help him take out bad guys. It was like the Magnificent Seven, right? You understand?
Sure.
And he goes to Robert Vaughn and he says, the last time we met, you were after the man that murdered your child. And all the Robert Vaughn character said was, I found him. That's all he said.
I like that. That's great.
All we need to know. That was a good episode. I miss Kung Fu: The Legend Continues. HBO Max, put Kung Fu: The Legend Continues on your channel, please.
Right.
I will sing your praises if you put Kung Fu: The Legend Continues on there. Anyway, it's late. I gotta go. But hopefully Friday we'll do something fun and relaxing, maybe, huh? If you are going to stream it all right. We'll try.
We'll see, and I'll keep you posted.
We can stress you out on Sunday with Geeky Geezers, okay? And I can do I can do the notes in the thumbnail. You know, I could always bring back the Geek Gulag as well. That's what I did with Al. That was my substitute stream when you couldn't make it that one week. So I'm like,
Gulag,
the Geek Gulag, and the idea was I was just picking weird geek news instead of it just being about like stuff that makes me mad. It was like, oh, the Star Wars Tamagotchi, and oh, look, here's this weird South Korean drama going to Apple Plus, and I was thinking, what are weird stories? That's what I was kind of thinking, because I didn't want to do the usual stuff we did. So
yeah,
all right, well, I'll catch you all later. Anything left
everyone.
to say, Troy?
Nope, we're good. Take care, everyone. You know what? Don't go hitting people, okay?
Don't hit people. Maybe have words with them, but don't hit them. And not that we should be doing this, but at least in the old days when you would challenge someone to a fight, there'd be people around to make sure you abided by certain rules and that no one got hurt too badly, right?
Right.
Okay,
exactly.
But and not that we need to go back to that, but that might be an improvement over what we have now. All right. Catch you later, guys.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.